Warning, this episode of Off Air is heavier in terms of subject matter, and so if you're looking for something a little bit more lighthearted, maybe go check out Styles Rebel Radio for some of our other great shows. All right, enjoy.
You guys ever see any ghosts?
Yeah.
Straight up?
Yeah. No, I
Straight
no.
up. Now tell me.
No, so I lived in a house that was really haunted in Lodi.
Mm-hmm.
It was built in 1890. When I did research on it, I found out that there were 2 separate murders in the house.
Really?
Oh.
Every Wednesday, and I have pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So it's legit shit.
Yeah,
so when I started realizing there was weird shit going on, when you're a kid and you just grab your mom's phone,
yeah,
you just start taking pictures.
Yeah.
So
No, actually.
So I took a picture of just the dog was laying on the ground.
Dong.
It was 6:30 in the morning, and I take a picture, and my mom's looking at it, and she's like, "Who's this little girl standing there?"
No.
And it's legit. It looks like a little girl staring at the door.
Prove it.
That's so crazy.
No, for real, I can show you. I can't show you now
Oh.
because it's not on my phone.
Yeah.
But
That's
so
insane.
right, so there was that, and then in that same house every Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Be 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. We would hear somebody walk upstairs, walk down the steps, go. So I'm trying to explain the layout of the house.
Yeah.
So old time house. So it had
Old time road.
it had the weird steps right in the middle of the living room,
Oh,
and then it had the door that it would close. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it was all hardwood floors. So you would hear them walk down the steps, go around, and then into the basement.
Oh.
And then you would hear slight trumpet music for 2 or 3 seconds after that.
That's super weird.
Yeah, and then there was a grandma in that house too.
That's super.
It was fucking weird.
I've never had any I've known people who have told me oh yeah, I saw a ghost and stuff. I've never had a real ghost encounter myself, and I've always been I might get spooked. It might scare me for real. I might be oh fuck, I gotta leave this premises.
You ever play with a Ouija board?
I want to.
No.
So there was one time I did.
Your mic's off because you were crunching.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
What?
there you go.
Who? I'm
What's happening now? God damn you.
No, I'm kidding. No, I have no. You want to play with the Ouija board?
Oh, you grabbed the XLR. Now it's out.
Am I?
Hello.
There he is.
Okay, yeah.
There's the
You-
big guy.
You want to play with the
There
Ouija
he
board?
is.
Yeah. Because I don't believe them.
I would be scared if if I know that my hand didn't move, even if I trust the people or if I don't trust the people.
That's my big thing. I don't have a group of friends that I don't trust. At least one of them would fuck with.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I don't.
You
know.
tell me,
So-
the 4 of us grab a Ouija board, and not one of us is gonna move.
So
it.
let me
Yeah.
tell you what happened.
I'm just not touching it.
So I was
I'll
right.
watch.
So I was just asking questions, and the only reason I think this is legit is because of how it happened. So
Was it in the same house?
what do you mean? No.
Okay.
So same area.
Okay.
Which Lodi in general, because it is it's the oldest settlement in Medina County. It's very haunted.
Mm.
There's a lot of sketchy shit that went on in Lodi.
Ohio in
So-
general just seems to be haunted.
That's
Yeah,
true.
That's fair.
Which somebody who had a psychic on today, the Seth Williams show,
I saw that.
pretty good. It was a good one. It was good shit. But so we were on my friend's porch, and maybe 600 feet away there's a barn. Okay, so big ass fucking yard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, I was talking to this girl. My buddy liked her too, so my buddy took the girl out to the barn, and I'm going, I don't know what they're doing, these fucking assholes. So apparently in this Ouija board, we were talking to Sacagawea.
What?
Right. So we're asking questions, all this different stuff. And I'm like, all right, let's be funny with it. I go, do you like what Matt, my buddy, is doing right now? And it went to no. And then I being me, I go, yeah, can you prove it? And it went to yes. It literally talking the way that I am now.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no fucking way they heard us.
Yeah.
They come hauling ass out of the fucking barn, out of breath, and they're going, which one of you fuckers did it? And we're like, what are you talking about? which one of you did it? Shit's not funny. Never told us what happened.
What?
Never told us what
That's
happened.
Spooky, bro.
Right. Never fucking
That's
told us what happened.
spooky.
Because I would ask him, I'd be like, dude, for real, what happened? You know
Yeah.
what you know what the fuck you did. So why even
So
bring
it
it
was
up?
something like
Crazy.
that fucked
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
scary.
And then after that, the candle that we had on the table blew out. Was not windy. Blew out, and then we didn't fuck with that after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's one of those. It's the perception of it. If you're open to it, I
Okay.
think it could happen.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'll say this, like, even now, just discussing it, you get that uneasy feeling, right?
Definitely.
So, like, there's people that have just, like, no fucking, like, no belief in it whatsoever. Like, nah, ghosts aren't real. Yeah. I'm like, it's hard for me to believe that those people exist. We're like, I'm not sitting here, like, looking for fucking ghost adventures.
Right.
Yeah.
But at the same time, still kind of fucking creepy. There could be something there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
the people that are just like, nope, not real. I'm like, how are you not phased? You are a psychopath.
It's weird how white people react to ghosts the way that like Native American people act to like the stuff.
Skinwalkers?
Yeah, the skinwalkers
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It's like
Oh, that
we're-
shit's real.
It's like what's
we're
the,
very much like
what's
well,
the demon
it could
that's in the
happen
Ouija
to
board?
What?
You know how white people always say like there's that demon in the Ouija board that's like not to be named. You know what I'm talking about?
Well,
Let's not name it.
starts
yeah,
with starts with the Z.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't
Zoltar.
know. I'm cool not knowing.
So
Zoltar.
so that's
genie?
why.
Yeah.
So whenever we fucked with the Ouija board, we would always
Zorg.
do the "Dear God bless this board,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
no
yeah.
evil through."
Oh wow.
So yeah, you have to say that. And so the weirdest thing, and Jordan, I told you about this. So in 2020, I got furloughed
Mhm.
from iHeart, and so I went back to school, did all that.
Mansfield, Ohio is one of the most 32
Oh,
most
yeah,
haunted
it is.
places. I'm just
Huh.
letting you know.
Yeah,
Really?
it
I've
is.
Yeah.
lived in
It's
Mansfield.
So-
right down the road.
Didn't feel haunted.
So I would wake up when I was furloughed. I don't know why. I would wake up and feel like somebody was watching me, like legit feel like I saw eyes type shit.
That's so weird.
So I got to the point I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here. I don't know if it's because I was going stir crazy
Yeah.
because I was inside.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking 2020, COVID, all that stupid shit.
Right.
So I'm like, fuck this. I'm going on a cross country trip. I need to get the fuck out of the state. Like,
Yeah.
Literally-
Get me out of here. Get me out of
Just
here.
that
Like-
urge, like, I gotta go.
Yeah.
right, like literally drop my car off at the garage because I needed some shit done.
Mhm.
Went and bought suitcases, packed my shit that next morning. I grabbed my car and I just fucking took off.
Yeah.
So my first stop, I ended up going all the way up to Montana. My first stop was in Dubuque, Iowa. So I stopped there just at a random fucking Motel 6.
Mhm.
They'll leave
Wait.
the lights on for you.
Hey,
Yeah.
woke up in the middle of the night because I still felt like somebody was fucking watching me. And I'm going, fuck, dude. To the point, I like got up out of bed, turned the light on. I was checking the mirror to see like this is how nuts this shit was driving
Yeah.
me.
Mhm.
Because I'm like, maybe one of the fucking workers were in here. Maybe something happened. And then I'm like, no, it's the same shit I'm feeling at home. What the fuck is happening? So I'm driving. I'm on the phone with my cousin in the middle of South Dakota. And he goes, where are you at right now? So, I'm kind of telling him, oh, the sign I just drove past because he's looking at the map, seeing if
Yeah.
there's anything weird. He goes, what's New Underwood?
What?
And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, there's a town called New Underwood off this next exit, like 10 miles if you turn left. I'm like, that's fucking
Yeah,
weird.
That's crazy.
So then he starts looking the shit up. The guy that the town was named after looks identical to my dad.
I remember you showing me that.
Wow.
Fucking
Yeah, no, he's right.
identical to
Yeah.
my dad.
That's
Turns out
crazy.
the guy is my great uncle, born in West Virginia, like the rest of us. Hillbilly down there,
Yeah.
right? Took off at like 17 and was like, "This ain't it.
Yeah.
Everybody's on drugs. Everybody's drinking. I'm not doing this shit. I'm moving to fucking Australia. I'm gonna be the best water buffalo rancher ever." And he ended up being it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Wow.
So this town is named after him. I drive through this town. I just stop. I'm not really talking to anybody. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of looking around because it's small, dude.
Yeah.
Like 700 people. They got their own high school,
yeah.
like type shit.
Yeah.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah. That's
Since then, whatever was watching me isn't there anymore.
You just had that
Wow.
urge to go there.
I dude, like what are the fucking chances of that
Yeah.
happening? So
So-
then I end up going up. So I went
Did
to
you
like
talk to anybody in the town and were
No.
you like, dude, you should have been like, yo, I know
Did you get a
the-"
shirt that said New Underwood at least?
I wanna
Yeah,
I was looking.
You should
Okay.
go back.
I think
there.
I either want to go back there or I want to hit up the high school and just be like, hey,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
I know for a fact like I'm related to the guy that your town's
Yeah.
named after. It'd
Yeah.
be kind of cool to get a shirt.
Yeah.
something like that. Something to or like go talk at the. I don't know.
But like I've always had weird shit like that to me.
I
That's so
have
crazy.
2 instances that come to mind.
Mhm.
In one of them, I know what the feeling was, and so like I know it wasn't anything paranormal.
Mhm,
The other one I still can't explain, but I have a theory.
mhm.
So first, the only time I understand the idea of sleep paralysis demons.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
insomnia though,
Yeah.
so like I'm
I-
rarely asleep anymore.
Yeah.
I used to have it when I was in training.
Insomnia or sleep paralysis
Sleep
demon.
paralysis.
Yeah.
Um,
I've had it once, and it felt like the most real.
I want to
thing
hear
in-
yours after this again
Yeah.
too,
I
because
had-
yours
yeah.
is crazy.
I had
Yeah.
it for a solid like 2-3 months.
All right,
So
hang on,
can
rewind.
we explain what that is?
Yeah,
Because
so
I don't know for sure.
a sleep paralysis, from what I understand, and you guys have probably know more than me, a sleep paralysis demon, from what I understand, is like this entity that you
Yeah.
feel that you can't really explain what it is that's over you, watching you, and like, almost restraining you. in some
You're asleep.
starts too,
You're
right?
asleep.
Oh,
And
so-
you're in a dream, but you wake up and you see your room around you, but you can't move because you're
That's
still
what
sleeping.
that's what it was.
Okay.
So
But then you
I've
see
had that
and then you
before.
see a
Can
figure
I-
in your room.
Can I tell my story really quick? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
no,
feel
go
like
ahead, because
mine-
yours is going to be more of
I
a story than mine.
I had known what sleep paralysis was, but like I couldn't fully like wrap my head around what was happening.
Yeah.
One night I was asleep, and in the room that I was in at that time, I was in a bed, and the bed was looking into a doorway that was a Jack and Jill bathroom, and I had
Mhm.
the door. So the Jack and Jill bathroom had 2 doors, right? One going
I
from
hate
one
Adam
room,
Sandler.
one going into another room, like another bedroom, and they're both connected to this bathroom in the middle, right? The further door was closed, but my door was open, and at the further door there was like a hamper for dirty laundry.
Yeah.
And I remember I woke up, or at least I had thought I woke up. I woke up and I couldn't move. I couldn't get out of bed or anything like that. I couldn't roll over. I couldn't grab my phone. It was like restraining. And there was a figure coming out of the hamper, like a big, or maybe like the side of the hamper, but it was like ascending up, and it was like a skinny figure, and it got taller and taller, and then it stopped, and it was just sitting there, and I was screaming. I was calling for the person in the room. I was like, I was screaming, and I woke up, and I like jerked, and I like rolled almost off of my bed because I was like, I just tried to fuck. Like that was like I was like that was sleep paralysis.
I
That
was
was
fighting
like
for my life.
yeah, that was like
Damn.
that was the real deal sleep paralysis. Like I got the full experience because like I couldn't move, and I was yelling, but like I could feel that it was like a muted yell or something
Yeah,
like that.
I have
It wasn't like
I used to have the
It-
exact same thing where you try to scream in the dream, but you can't hear it.
you
You physically can't. It's
yeah,
like-
you can't. Yeah, that's what it was. It was like I was calling I remember I was calling, and it wasn't coming out. And then I woke up, and it was like ah! Like I screamed really quick, and then I
Mhm.
realized that I was awake, and I realized what was happening, and I stopped screaming right away. You know?
I've woke up like from a bad dream or like felt myself scream myself awake, but nothing like that. Do you have a story you want to? Because I have one more that I thought of, but I feel like yours is going to be more of a real like sleep paralysis situation.
I used to all the time when I was in training, and this is when I was still in the dorms when I was stationed.
It was just the government.
in Tucson. And for some
for
reason,
for context too, Pidge was in the military. Or is in the
Is,
military.
yeah.
He's a vet, baby.
I'm not.
Thank you
vet.
for your service.
Oh, well,
I'm still in.
oh damn.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Well,
thank
it's
you for
a
your service.
podcast. Play it back in a year.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. But when I was in training and I was in the dorm station at David's Mountain, there was a time where I was super depressed all the time, and I know that with depression, like kind of like random bursts of it, that is more probable to actually get like sleep paralysis and
Yeah,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But in my dorm, the way that it was set up is you walk into the door, your bed's right there to the right,
Mm-hmm.
and then you like straight ahead there was a bathroom,
Mm-hmm.
and that was about it. And I just remember I would always keep my lights on.
Mm-hmm.
I usually kind of keep like one light on in my room. I hate sleeping in pitch black,
Okay.
so I was keeping the light on in the bathroom, and I was just remember it was for like a solid 2 months because I was so like
Was it
depressed at the time.
like nightly, or was it like this night and then like
it was like every other night
that's so
that it
crazy.
happened.
That's so
sounds
crazy.
terrifying.
Yeah, that's
I would always
insane.
face the wall
Mhm.
because I fall asleep. I sleep on my side, and I would always sleep on the wall, facing the wall. But I remember there was times where I would wake up, and I would like turn around, and I would look up, and I would see it standing right by my bathroom sink.
Oh my.
And every time I turned back around,
Yeah.
and then I turned back around, it was a little bit closer. And then every time I would blink, it would get closer and closer until it was. I tried to, the screaming thing. I tried letting people know.
Yeah, you tried to get out.
Yeah. There was one time where apparently when I was doing it in my sleep, is I was banging on the wall
That's crazy.
for that, and then my roommate was like knocking on the door. He's like,
Yeah.
"Yo, you good?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
that's
crazy.
terrifying.
And I was sitting there. I was like, "Dude,
Yeah.
I'm not going to sleep."
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So, yeah.
so insane. It's because it's such a real thing. Like
Super real, dude.
it's such a real thing. Like because that was you brought that up. I sleep on my side too. I remember I woke up and I was like laying on my back and I felt very vulnerable. I was
Yeah.
like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
it like I'm in the perfect
Yeah.
spot for this type
I
of
am
thing.
restrained.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
in the spot where it's gonna happen. It's gonna because I know that's the sleep paralysis thing. Is it moves closer? It's this big ominous figure that
Yeah.
gets close. It's like it doesn't touch you, it doesn't hurt you, but
And
it
this
fucks with you.
and
you know?
this figure that I always have kept seeing. The first time I remember seeing this was in a dream when I was like 10 years old.
That's crazy.
And it was in my front yard. You see my front yard. It's like right by the mailboxes.
Okay, yeah.
Right over there. And I just remember walking in my front yard, and it was like late at night. That was a dream, and I saw it just standing there, and then it like came up real close to me. It was like looming over me,
That's so.
and it was like that one kind of looked like the Grim Reaper, but I don't know. I've always
Still
associated
a dark, ominous.
I've always associated them with demons.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I always get super religious when it comes to that
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Couple stories,
Mhm.
and two of them I'll let you guys be the judge of if this was sleep paralysis or not. What you think?
Mhm.
Okay.
First story I know is not, but this is the first time that I correlated that kind of a feeling.
Mhm.
So when I was in high school, lived in Valley View, and my house was in woods both sides.
Yeah.
You guys have both seen it.
Yeah.
Had woods on both sides of my house. The house is new, built. No one ever lived in it before us. Like wasn't haunted that I know of, anything like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I remember one night, it just turned spring, and the way my bedroom was set up, my bed was right next to a window. So like I could open it up. There's the window right there. I can get onto the roof if I want. Right.
Mhm.
So it was right there. It was right by my head when I slept. On my side, it was right there. And I remember the one night, just this big thud, vibrations throughout the house.
yeah.
And I remember like I woke up because of the loud fucking noise, like a
Mhm.
bang,
Mhm.
louder than a gunshot. And I was laying there and like I couldn't move.
Mhm.
And I'm like, oh, what the fuck was that? So like sit there kind of shaking for a minute, like the nervous system shakes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're
Yeah.
not physically shaking, but you're tingly.
This gets into my next story that I want to tell after yours.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is this feeling? So finally, like, took a couple breaths, got moving. Wasn't like I was awake. Wasn't like a dream or anything. I heard the bang, so I'm like, is someone in the house? What is this? What's going on?
Mhm.
So I grabbed something on my, I don't know what the fuck it was. I was like 17. I grabbed something on my fucking room and went out into the hallway.
Mhm.
But I remember I go into the hallway because my bedroom's on the second floor.
Mhm.
So I go into this hallway and it's like the bathroom across from me, a bedroom to my left, a bedroom to my right, and my dad's room, and the stairs downstairs.
Yeah.
So I wake up, I turn on my light, and I go to open the door, and I can't. It's stuck shut.
Mm.
Like I'm fucking yanking
Yeah.
on this door. Like handle
Yeah.
is turned, I'm yanking on it, and I put my foot on the wall and I pull it open. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
I'm like, it feels like the house is like sinking in or something at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why can't I open this door? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so I remember running outside, and my dad ran out the door too, and we were both just like looking around, like, what the fuck happened?
Mhm.
It turned out it was a tree that fell
Okay.
on the window in my
That's
bed. Like it didn't go
crazy.
through the house, it didn't hurt the house, fucked up the
Mhm.
gutter.
Mhm.
But like that could have killed me.
That's
like it fell
crazy.
where
Damn.
my bedroom was.
That's insane.
And that's like the first time I knew that feeling. Now,
yeah.
here's where I'll let you guys be the judge of these two.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time you ever have like sleep deja vu where you see something in a dream
Yep.
and it happens.
Yeah.
I had it happen moments after.
Mm.
I was 4 or 5, living in Parma, and just a fucking kid, 4 or 5-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And I was asleep, and I had this dream that I woke up and went downstairs into the living room, and I saw my mom in the kitchen looking out the window that was over the sink into the backyard. We had a big backyard, and there was just a deer out there, right? That's all she was looking at.
Yeah.
It's terrified me. I woke up, I was screaming, I ran down the stairs to go see my mom. She was staying in the kitchen looking at a deer.
Mm.
Now, the only thing that I remember distinctly about this thing is like, and again, it happened moments apart from each other. So I
Yeah.
don't know what's the dream and what's real at this point.
Yeah.
But in one of them, there were red eyes, and I would like to imagine that it
Yeah.
was the dream.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the first
You say
instance.
on the deer or you
Yeah,
saying-
on the deer.
okay.
Yeah. So that's the first instance that I have with something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this next one is very recent.
Mm.
A
I feel
couple
like
months ago.
I feel like I've seen the same thing, which is weird.
The deer with red eyes?
Yes.
Skinwalkers.
Yeah.
Um,
In a dream, I feel like I have.
yeah. I wonder if that's like because like a dream analyst, right? I wonder if that's a thing. So this next one, and this is the one I just have a theory about because I still can't really explain it. For context, I have anxiety,
Mhm.
I have depression,
Yeah.
and I have costochondritis, which is inflamed cartilage in my chest and lungs. I have no control over it. Every so often it acts up. It fucks up my nervous system and my breathing. I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen me with it. Like, I
Yeah.
can't breathe.
Yeah.
I get numb. I can't
Yeah.
walk. You
It's
know?
usually when we kick them, we're like, get up, fucker.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like it's no big deal. There's nothing they can do about it. I take some aspirin. I get over it eventually.
Mhm.
But like it kind of just incapacitates me for a little bit. That being said, it's very painful in my chest and it's hard
Yeah.
to breathe. I can't catch my breath and I'm numb. So one night, probably like 3 a.m., this house, a couple months back, it's like 3 a.m. and for some reason, I was watching TV downstairs. I was super tired, but it's 3 a.m. and I'm like, I want to go to bed. And I don't know what it was about me, but it's like, I don't want to go upstairs. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like I didn't want to walk upstairs. It wasn't that I was too tired. It's like, I don't want to go. I feel like I shouldn't go upstairs. I don't want to go
Yeah.
upstairs. I don't know
Mhm.
why.
Mm-hmm.
I still to this day don't know why I had that feeling. I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, probably Seinfeld or something. I'm watching TV. I'm like, I just don't want to watch TV. Like, I want to go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't want to go upstairs. And I don't know what this feeling is. But eventually I'm like, it's stupid that I'm down here and I'm tired. I'm going to go to bed. So I turn off the TV. I turn off the lights. I walk upstairs. And I walk upstairs, open my bedroom door. And as soon as I step through my bedroom door, it felt like just, you know, those air cannons?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It felt like I was hit in the chest by one, and it like knocked me back for a second. And it was like that feeling of costochondritis where there's just pressure on my chest and I couldn't breathe and I don't know what it was. And I just kind of stood there. I stood in the hallway because I took a step back out of my room
Mm-hmm.
and just like tried to catch my breath. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Now I went in my room and went to bed,
Mm-hmm.
but like I laid there for a fucking minute just like with this pressure
Yeah.
on my chest of like what I felt like someone was
Damn.
sitting on me. I'm like,
That's
I don't know
wild.
what this is
Oh,
or what is causing this. If it's anxiety, if it's stress, what this is. But like,
panic attack.
Yeah.
Or something.
yeah, but like I wasn't, other than the shock of that happening and me trying to figure out what it was, there was nothing that led up to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've had panic attacks. It didn't
Yeah.
feel like I was like going mentally insane in
Right,
it. Like,
right.
Nothing was happening in my mind,
Yeah.
but like just this physical like pushing on my chest. And it was the craziest
That's
fucking thing.
wild.
Yeah.
So I'll let you guys be the judge of that.
That's really interesting.
I think it's a mixture of your anxiety and everything you got going on because you already didn't want to go upstairs.
But I don't know why. That's the thing.
Well, your anxiety. That's why.
That's fair.
I mean, like there are times I run into that at work where I know I have to go interview somebody, and I'm like, I really don't want to fucking interview them.
Yeah.
And it's not anything personal. I'm just like, I can't fucking do it. I do it
Yeah.
anyways. Like
Yeah.
you ended up going
Yeah.
upstairs. But yeah, I think that's what that
Mm.
was. I think that was a mixture of just the situation and your anxiety. But I don't know
Yeah, like this
That's
physical
weird.
feeling that air push on my chest is what
that's
threw me.
weird.
Because like,
Yeah.
Was your window open?
no. And even if
Yeah.
it was, that's not like the position it would hit.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
literally, like as soon as I walked, it was almost like a suction, you know?
Yeah.
It was weird.
Seems like you got sucked by a little ghost.
I have been
Hmm.
told there's a ghost here.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
going back to you
Nothing
said-
that I've ever seen happen, but
Yeah. You talked
witchy
about
bitches.
being like jolted awake and like having that it sounded like louder than a gunshot
Yeah,
sort of thing.
yeah.
This really weird thing that I found out has a name. It's called exploding head syndrome, but it it happened to me a couple times in high school, and it was the weirdest thing ever. And I think it's led on from like anxiety, but essentially it's you hear this really loud sound in your sleep and you wake up is like the cut and dry of it. And I remember one instance specifically. It was I was in my basement in my old house, and my little brother, the kids' room, like the toy room, was next door, and I was laying in my bed, and it sounded like a guitar, like you know in the beginning of Back to the Future where there's like the really loud guitar riff
Yeah.
and it like
Mhm.
blows Marty back. It sounded like that, but like a million times louder. It was like wow, the loudest, and I instantly jolted up, and I ran over to the other room, and I like got my brother, and I was like, "Hey, did you hear that? Like what?" what was that? What's going on? He's like, I didn't hear anything. I don't know what you're talking about. And then there was another time where it was a gunshot, but I remember it being more of like a guttural gunshot, like a shotgun gunshot, if that makes sense. Like it wasn't like a bang, it was like a boom, you know? Yeah. And it jolted me awake, and I think I'll pull it up really quick, but I think it's from anxiety is what like sets it on. So I mean I was in high school, so it could have been like college or something like that, and like that's very viable. But I've always thought that it was interesting that it's called exploding head syndrome, and it's like I don't know if there is like I remember there was a guy on Reddit. This is how like I first started doing my research into it. There was a guy on Reddit that got it for like 7 years every other night or something like that, where he just like ritualistically he knew that it was going to happen, where like this loud sound was it's like and again I think it's different for different people, or like you have it different times, you hear different like loud sound, you know, it's probably just whatever is in your brain's memory bank for a loud sound, and then it kind of like repeats that to wake you up. But really strange, like, and I don't think there's a preventative. It's just one of those like brain things.
I've definitely been woken up by a fake loud sound that I heard.
Yeah.
That's definitely something that's happened to me.
This reminds me of, there was a movie that was put out in 2020. It was a Canadian science film. It was called Come True. And it's the basic plot of it is that there is a girl who has like sleep paralysis, but she goes, because she is in need of like money, and she's like struggling with school and funds and everything, she goes to be part of a science experiment where they put them in the dreams, and the scientists are studying that same
exploding head,
that same black figure that almost everybody that has sleep paralysis sees.
Yeah.
So it's super interesting. Such a
what's
it
called again?
It's called Come True. Come True.
I remember that. I remember that movie.
There's a movie recap on it. You know, where a little robotic voice talks about it and gives the whole thing.
Yeah. Those are nice.
Yeah, they just 10 minutes to watch a whole movie.
Yeah.
It's
you get the entire plot of the movie in like 15 minutes. You're like,
it's kind of like if you've seen Stranger Things, it's kind of like Mike in the whole first season, sleep paralysis demons.
Yeah,
where that shadowy figure that he can't really describe is kind of like taking over his body, but it's not here in this plane, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, exploding head syndrome is not what it sounds here. This is from satva.com. So I mean,
a good source.
Right. With one of the more unnecessarily alarming names for medical conditions in history, exploding head syndrome is not what it sounds like. Although sound does play a key role, officially recognized by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine and the American Sleep Association, exploding head syndrome is a rare condition characterized by brief, intense auditory hallucinations. Usually patients report hearing something like a cymbal crash, a gunshot, or an explosion as they fall asleep or wake up. That's what it was, too. That's what it fucking was, too. The other time that it happened, I wasn't waking up. I was falling asleep, and it happened. And I remember I was laying in my bed and the lights were on, and like, cause I was just taking like a nap, like it was one of those accidental fall asleep sort of things where something else is on in the back. Yeah. And I don't remember if it was, that was the gunshot maybe, or one of them was a guitar riff and one of them was like a deep guttural gunshot. But the one was as I was falling asleep and the one was as I was waking up, and it was super fucking weird. I don't remember if as I was falling asleep was the first time, because I remember the other time that it happened, again, both of these happened. I remember one time I ran and told Elliot and my younger brother, and he had no idea what was going on. The other time I ran upstairs and told my mom, and my mom was like, "Oh, I think I've heard," and she told me about exploding head syndrome. Like, she was the one who put me onto this.
Okay. It might be genetic then.
That's what I think, because it's happened to my mom. Like, I know about it because it's happened to my mom, and she told me about it.
This is a good episode. This is unnerving. This is spooky. You got people here. You got me like shaking my.
I was
foot.
gonna say,
like,
let me put a spin on this real quick, right? I don't want to make this a religious thing.
Yeah.
However, let me take the opposite route. Have you ever heard anyone's voice, any kind of sign in a dream that put you at ease when you woke up?
Have I heard anything?
I have a very specific, and it's like almost like I've never talked about this. It's very specific, and it almost scared me when I woke up. But I was like, you know, like when you should be scared of something, but you're just very at peace. Yeah, like your whole body's just relaxed.
Yep,
that's what it was. I was talking to this girl. This is a long time ago, like middle school maybe.
Okay.
I was talking to this girl, and I knew that things were ending.
Yeah.
And it was like the first time that like I was in that situation, like, oh, this isn't going to be a thing.
Right.
This is over. I'm just waiting for the news, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like I was at my aunt's house and I was just having this fucking like breakdown, this anxiety attack, like at 2 a.m. when no one else is up, just like staring at my phone, waiting for the text or whatever, right? And like it sounds like such a stupid situation for this to happen in, and like it is.
Mm-hmm.
But I just remember like having this fucking anxiety attack and laying there and like just balling up and going to sleep. I don't remember anything else happening in the dream, but I was walking down this road and it was just a really fucking bright, like nothing on either side, just a road and like yellow light all around. And I was walking down this fucking road
At night or in day? Like, was the dream like at nighttime or daytime?
I guess day. It was like I saw nothing but a road and then
Okay, yeah.
yellow light around me.
Okay.
And I was walking down this road and all I heard was a voice that said, "It will be okay." And I fucking
Yeah.
woke up. And that's all it was. And I'm like, what the fuck was it? And like, I woke up because I'm like, what was that? And, but like, my body was at peace. I'm like, I'm trying to fucking comprehend what just happened. But I'm like, okay. And then literally, like, I didn't worry about it after that. And it was the weirdest fucking thing in my life.
So when I got in my really bad car accident, one where I flipped the car like 6 times. So the way that the car landed was 2001 Pontiac Grand Am, just to kind of paint the picture.
Yeah.
Hit a ditch, flipped 6 times.
Jeez.
Into a cornfield. We were like 250 feet in the cornfield.
That's crazy.
Right. I remember being in the car. I have to close my eyes to picture it. I remember being in the car, my seatbelt on because my shoulder's still fucked. Like my whole collarbone. Like, like as an example, you hear how my voice is now. Now, hear the accent? If I take it off of my vocal cords, it's a completely different sounding voice. So this is when it's pressing on it. It's a little more raspy. And then if I take it off, it's just a completely different sound.
Yeah.
This is how I used to sound. This is what I sound like now. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I remember being in the car. The car is on its side, on its driver's side. And I don't know why, but with this car, it was my first car. I just felt a connection with it. Only car I've had since then. I just had a connection with it. A car I always wanted. My dad had one growing up. It was the family car. Always wanted one. Anyways. So I remember laying there and just like, as I'm sitting there in the car, I just remember in my head going, this is it. This is probably where I die type thing. And I just remember like sitting there and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to close my eyes. If it happens, it happens.
Yeah. Let it be. Let it be.
Like not going to fight it.
Yeah.
This is where it happens.
Right.
So
That's
I close.
Crazy. That's a crazy thing to just be like, okay.
Yeah. And that's why, like, Jordan, you and I talked about, I'm not scared of death just because, like, I've been in situations like that.
Yeah.
And I just remember kind of like laying there. So to demonstrate, it's on the driver's side. Driver's side is on the ground. So, like, my driver's side door is on the ground.
And this is after, like, you have already, like, car is stopped. This is when you're
car is
thinking
stopped.
Okay.
There are 3 other people in the car with me. They're all, oh my God, and I just remember like sitting there and going, all right, this is it. This is how it happens. So because of the way that the car was flipped, they couldn't get me out. So the 2 people in the back seat obviously were good. They were able to get out. The kid that was sitting up front, he was able to get out. They were able to get him out. But I'm just kind of like sitting there and in my head I'm going, okay, this is it. All right, this is where it happens, let it, so be it. Yeah. Okay. I've lived a good life. It is what it is. Okay. I'm like 20.
That's
so sitting there and I just remember closing my eyes and I don't know what it was. I don't know how it was, but I was at peace.
Yeah.
Like I was relaxed and it was just kind of like I don't know the voice. I don't know who or what, but it was like you're getting out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. You're going to get out of here. And the next thing I know, apparently I crawled out of the car, out of the back windshield, like basically unbuckled my seatbelt, was able to turn around, crawl out over the driver's seat, over the back seat, through the back windshield, crawled over to the ditch where the ambulance and everything was, and I just sat there. I don't remember that. The next thing I remember is being in the ambulance. They're restraining me because I'm trying to get up to make sure everybody's okay.
Yeah.
People that were in the car with me. And then I just remember telling the one kid that was in the ambulance with me, it's going to be okay. We're on the way to the hospital. We're going to be okay. We're going to be good. We're going to be all right. And then I don't remember making it to the hospital. I don't remember being in there except for the brief moment where they basically had to almost sedate me because I was ready to just, I wanted to get up and make sure my friends were okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember waking up, like I'm sure I was up and moving.
Right.
But I remember like after the accident, I couldn't go to my room because I couldn't make it there. So I was on the couch and I just remember laying there and like I couldn't move. Shoulders fucked up, nose is fucked up. It could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah.
But I'm just sore, fucked up. It's all bad. But I just remember that just like that moment of this sucks, but this is how it's going to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then somehow I got out. So I kind of do like kind of the same thing. It just, oh, fuck. And then, yeah.
There's
so, but when you said that, like I kind of forgotten about it until you said that. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, no, that's, yeah.
And like, it's just, you don't feel anything. You're just there and there's that voice, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how it was. It was just kind of like, it was almost one of those where I was like, all right, you know what, buddy, I'm ready to let go. If this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it's supposed to be. I believe in you. I know you got a plan.
Yeah.
This is it. This is it.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those like, we're good. You got this.
I don't think I've never really heard a voice, but like the main thing that I always did and what kind of got me out of that like 2-month spree of like being in that kind of like sleep paralysis cycle that kept going on. And again, not to get like religious and everything, but the main thing that I always like said to myself in those dreams, it was just on repeat. There was like 3 things I always said. I always just kept going like, Lord, please. Lord, please.
Yeah.
And I just kept saying the word because I remember I was being taught when I was a kid that like demons are afraid of anything that has to do with like, you know, Jesus and God and everything.
Yeah.
They were all anytime you like mentioned it, they would just like ran away.
Yeah.
So I would just be sitting there while I was like, you know, kind of flipping back and forth and like, because I would see it, I would see it, and then I would just, you know, I would turn around and I would just, you know, keep going like, Lord, Jesus, Lord, you know, Jesus Christ, and I kept like saying it like with super meaningful purpose, and then it kept kind of getting closer. But then every time I woke up, and I was like, there was like one, I think it was usually at the end of every time it happened, I like tried to scream it like really loud. And then as soon as I did that, it would wake me up. So what kind of got me to stop having those things is I kind of just like, I started putting those, I started like putting the Bible right next to where I sleep.
Okay.
Or I would put it under my pillow and stuff like that. And I would, you know, and it stopped it after a while. So
that's wild.
It started kind of as a joke, but like, I believe the sentiment. I don't remember what the context was the conversation happened in, but I was talking with my cousin Austin, who I think all of you guys know him.
Yeah.
Big gun nut. Loves firearms, loves anything to do with them, history, collecting, owning, just everything to do with it.
Yeah.
Huge Second Amendment guy.
Big.
Oh yeah.
Big.
Huge.
Big Second Amendment guy.
Bigly.
But like, I don't remember the context with it, but I think he was talking about like gun safes and like proper storage and gun locks and things like that.
Oh yeah.
And he had asked me because I had my he had got me my 12 gauge at the time that I got for home defense. And so I kind of said it jokingly to him because he was talking about like scenarios where you'd need this and what's the smartest way to store things. And I'm like, listen, man, I got a gun under my bed for anything on this plane and a Bible on my nightstand for anything that's in the other planes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, seriously.
Yeah. That's really how it is. I was going to say there's always that like, I've always had this sense. So for context, my dad passed away before I was born, and I've always kind of been like you talked about, oh, I'm not afraid of that. I've always been like, yeah, death's an old friend of mine. Like it goes way back. I get that. There's always this like sense of peace that comes. I was talking with my girlfriend about this a couple days ago. Like the real depictions of angels and stuff like that. How it's like rings of eyes in the sky, and like there's one where it's the head of a bear, the head of a goat, the head of a man, and the head of like a wolf or something like that. And then it's got wings, and it's got like wings on its bottom too. It's got like 4 sets of wings. So there's a couple different sects of angels that like go in Revelations. Like it's gonna, the rapture, they're gonna come down, and Jesus is gonna be there. And
right.
it's going to be this big. It's going to be the rapture, right? Just from a religious, like, to anyone else, to a non-believer or something like that, that's going to be terrifying. That's going to be super like, holy fuck, what the shit is going on? But to anybody who's like, who believes in God and kind of gets the gist of what's going on, it's going to be, or at least
It'll be unnerving.
Yeah, it's going to be unnerving, but I at least like to believe that there will be that sense of
Peace.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
that you got in the car, that you know, like,
It is a
that,
terrifying experience, but you are not afraid.
yeah, but like,
Yeah.
you know, you're like, okay, I see what's going on, I get it. There's this sense of everything is where it's supposed to be. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Well,
this is
yeah.
going, like, the things that are supposed to be falling in are falling into play.
Yeah.
And we're just kind of, there are going
We're
to be
here
people,
for it.
there are going to be people that's going to be weird for, and it's weird for us, but like, we get it.
I think
you
it's
know?
that piece talking about the Bible when Jesus is on the cross and he's got the two people next to him. You got the guy who's going, well, if you're the Son of God, do something.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
you got the other guy who's going, you are the Son of God. I'm sorry for what I did. I assume it's that piece that the guy who went, dude, you did everything you could. This is what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
piece that we'll feel.
That I agree with that. It's that piece of like, it sounds corny and it sounds, you know, whatever may have you, but let go and let God, of like, just, I don't know what's going on. This is clearly above my human pay grade. Like, just let it.
It's not
you know,
up to me at this
yeah,
point, right?
right.
Yeah, let it
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
happen, man. I don't care. Like, I'm putting it in your hands 100%. The cards are in,
Well,
the ball's in your court. You
That's
know?
like I always say, and Jordan and I have talked about this before, where it might sound corny, it might get
Yeah.
people pissed off. I
Yeah.
don't care. I believe that God has a plan for each
Yeah.
person.
100%.
And I don't think there's one set path.
Yeah.
I think there's a million paths, and in between each path, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of swamp water.
yeah.
And it's just enough that
I
it's
like
like
that,
right
yeah.
above your
Yeah.
mouth, and you're drowned in a little bit, but you're just dredging your way through it. You're just walking through, and then you
Yeah.
get back on that path.
It's way outside of our comprehension.
Right.
Yeah.
But I believe everything happens for a reason. For instance, back in November, I had that audition.
Yes.
Mhm.
I was given that audition to show you're not ready yet.
Mhm.
You think you are,
Mhm.
but you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
But there is a path that is set for you. You will get there eventually. You see you can do it, but you're not ready yet.
Yeah.
When you are, that's when I'll give it to you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep testing you.
Yeah.
And there's going to be little things in your path. And each time you overcome it, you're going to be one step closer to where you need to be.
Yeah.
And that's what I think death is. When we experience death, it's not because he's unfair and unjust. It's because it's something you can handle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to go through it. I'm very much someone where I have to let my hand touch the fire to know that it burns.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and so
Yep.
it's like, it's the same sentiment of I don't fear. I have to die to know what death is like. So until then, it's just fucking something that happens to everybody.
Well,
and it's like, okay, well, what, you know?
I'll
maybe
put it this
tickles.
way too. You have to die to know what living is, know
Yeah.
what life
Right.
was, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Let me ask
Mhm.
you this.
Old Bob Ross.
Just
You
to-
gotta have a little sadness in once in a
There
while.
you go.
That's right.
To know when the good times are coming.
Have you been in a car accident, like a car wreck?
No.
Have you been in a car wreck?
No.
Okay, so let me directly ask you then,
Mhm.
because speaking of that moment of peace where you're just like almost like an out of body experience, but you're just
Mhm.
there and you're like, this is gonna happen.
Mhm.
I'm not worried. I just know that this is gonna happen, and good or bad.
Mhm.
There was a moment that I remember. I got T-boned in my Mustang, and like it was crazy because the fucking cop afterwards told me like if it was 2 inches to the right, it would have went straight through the car and killed me.
Right.
My
Yeah.
car's
Mhm.
aluminum. It's
Mhm.
very light. So I got hit, but I remember it's a 4-lane road during rush hour and a double turning lane, so it turns both ways.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there and I'm turning left into a parking lot and it's fucking full traffic and I'm just trying to find a spot to go. There's a big ass van in front of me,
Yeah.
so I can't see the
Yeah,
next lane
yeah,
that I'm turning
yeah.
into.
Yeah.
And I remember he's waving me on. There's people in the far lane waving me on. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Jeez.
And as soon as I cut the wheel, I came an inch out and I saw a car coming and time stopped and I said, I'm going to get hit. I
Yeah.
said it out loud.
Yeah.
I wasn't in panic. I wasn't
Yeah.
in fear. I said, I'm going to get hit. And that's the last thing I remember happening before I flipped over the curb.
There are those times where it's like everything freezes for a second. You know exactly what's about to. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. You know it's about to happen right now.
Yeah.
You can't stop it.
When-
it's just like,
I mean,
boom.
I used to rock climb all the time too, and I've had definitely those experiences. And people I rock climb with all the time. I mean, I'm all harnessed up and everything,
Yeah.
Right.
But there's obviously those times like when you fall. A lot of people scream. A lot of people, for me, my friends are kind of weirded out. I was like, dude, you don't like say anything. Like when you fall or when you know you're gonna fall.
Yeah.
Like
You just kind of
kinda
do it. Yeah.
So
Interesting.
the one car, the last accident I got into, it was December 17th of, I think it was 2016 or 15. Driving to work, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. This is when I worked at Verizon. I had to open the store. It had rained the night before, so it was just a sheet of ice. And if you've ever been on 224, I'm in Medina County. Now it's all lit up. They've completely redone it, but it was dark. Hit some ice, went off, and to give you an example of how the car flipped, I was driving this way. When it landed, I was facing this way. So the car
completely 180.
Right. And it landed, ironically enough, on its passenger side again. And I remember as I was sliding to go ahead, I go, okay, this isn't going to be good. I need to somehow be standing when this thing lands. I cannot fall with it. So I remember unbuckling my seatbelt and like knowing which way it was going to go. And then as it like hit, I remember leaning to the passenger seat. So almost like so it hit, like as I'm heading towards it, I'm like, okay, I'm going to need to position myself. So I remember unbuckling and like leaning to the passenger side.
You
Like laying into it. Yeah.
Right.
Or like into it or against it?
Against it.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, going against it. And then when I landed, I was on my knees on the driver's side door on the ground. So then I could just stand up. And I remember the weirdest fucking thing about it is I remember that the radio was on and whoever was talking said something really stupid. Cause I'm like, well, that's a fucking stupid thing. And then I
when you know you're a broadcaster.
Right. And so then I reached down, turn it over enough to roll my passenger window down because it's above me.
Yeah.
And then there's like 4 cars that stopped. Oh my God, are you okay? And I just remember the one guy asked, I was getting ready to jump out of the car. I'm like, hold on. Somebody call my phone because I need to call my boss. Tell him obviously I'm not going to be in today.
Yeah.
And they're like, what's your phone number? Right. What's your phone number? I tell him and I hear the one guy go, well, I guess he's not concussed.
I will say just real quick, you don't forget the song or like what's on the radio when you get in that big accident. It took me 4 years to listen to the song again, and it sucked because it's my favorite band. I got hit, and as soon as I like regained consciousness and was sitting in the wrecked car, my phone was still attached to my Bluetooth and was still in the holster. That's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, oh shit, my phone didn't go flying out the window and everything's still playing, so my car can't be that like mechanically bad.
Yeah.
And I remember just hearing Nirvana's D Major 7 playing, and I couldn't listen to it for 4 years because every time it'd come on, I'm like, I'm gonna wreck my fucking car.
I have yet to listen to the song that I got into my first accident listening to.
Do you know what it was?
Defiance. It's because I went to high school with the lead singer's younger brother.
Gotcha.
And I think it's called Get Up Off the Ground.
Gotcha.
Save yourself. Yeah, and like
I'm
I have
always,
yet to listen to it.
I'm always very worried of my big wreck. Like, or I mean, a big wreck
Yeah.
that I might potentially get in one day. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully not. But like if it's a dumb song or if it's I'm really worried about it being something stupid or like because if I die, that's
the last thing you'll
We're
see.
no
Yeah.
strangers to love.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that.
Jordan and I have talked about this before. It was the topic of like if like when we die, the last song that we had playing is gonna be played at the funeral.
Yeah,
No
I think
matter
that's a
what.
cool concept.
So that you
Okay,
can
yeah.
kind of understand like that mindset that you were in when it happened.
I
Yeah.
like that.
So-
I like that.
Yeah, I like
That's
that
really
concept.
I don't know if I like that.
No?
And the reason why is because like I'll hear like a good song. I don't
Yeah.
know why accent's coming out tonight.
Would-
Yeah, what the
Oh,
fuck?
yeah.
Good song. But I'll hear a good song and I'll go to the Spotify like radio list.
Yeah.
That's fair.
There are
Just
some
listen to
songs
'em.
on there I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of.
And plus, it'll be kind of awkward too, because imagine if you're just like you're at a funeral and they're playing like
Drake Bell's Gucci Gang.
Yeah, Drake Bell's Gucci Gang.
Because that's what it's gonna be,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Death to all
Just
the
accept
metal.
you're gonna hear Drake Bell's
Right.
Gucci Gang at my
like,
funeral.
Like you're just like
or the
yeah.
Styles Rubber Radio podcast.
Yeah, you're just listening to the podcast.
It's the podcast.
It's just an
Oh my
episode.
You have to listen to this episode
Yeah,
of Off Air.
this episode.
God, this is kind of fucking ominous. Huh?
This is
Oh,
weird.
I'm gonna wreck tonight driving Evan home.
This is wild.
I'll just kind of 180ing where we came from.
Yeah.
This isn't my story. It's a story from my dad, but it sticks with me of just that ominous feeling of like knowing something is wrong, even if it's not you. You know,
Mhm.
my dad told me the story, and I could be butchering details, but here's like what has stuck with me. My great grandfather lived in West Virginia,
Okay.
and like in West Virginia, did not have indoor plumbing. didn't have like very good electricity to
Yeah.
where like it was the outside hard-lined electricity,
Yeah,
like mainly just oil candles. But my dad would drive up there with his cousin like every fucking like at least once a month, I think, just to see his grandpa.
Yeah.
And they'd hang out at the house. And he tells me the story of one time that it was him and some cousins were over, and it was late at night, and they were up and they were watching TV or they were doing something. But it was like early hours in the morning, midnight, 1 a.m. And he remembers just like hearing this big fucking crash outside, like a big boom, like a tree had fallen or something, just this earth shaking boom.
Mhm.
And he kind of stopped and like noticed it and looked around and then went back to doing whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
It turns out that his cousin, not the one he used to go down there with, a different cousin, was out hunting and got shot
He got shot.
that night. Yeah, his
Wow.
cousin got shot that night. Now, where they were, there's no odds that was the sound.
Right.
Like that was a completely different thing.
Mhm.
But just the fucking ominous, like he heard a boom, he knew something was wrong and stopped. And it just so happened to be that same night that his cousin got shot while
Wow.
hunting. And like an hour later, they got the call about it.
Where
Hmm.
was the cousin? Oh, excuse me. Was the cousin like far away from? Your
Yeah,
dad?
yeah. It wasn't like anywhere in the proximity that you would have heard that. Like they were
okay.
That's wild.
way
That's
out of town
super
hunting.
weird.
Yeah,
That's super weird.
yeah. So like shit like that,
Mm-hmm.
weirdly ominous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned it like the which you had a great name for it, and I don't remember the earthly angels. What is it?
Oh, the
Oh,
realistic depictions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like yeah.
So there's a common thing, and I've heard my family talk about it. I
Mhm.
have never experienced anything like this. Like things, yes, but not like this. People talk about orbs all the time.
Oh yeah.
Seeing the
Yep.
orbs and the lights around things.
Mhm.
Multiple people in my family have talked about over my uncle, over I want to say a grandparents, one of my great grandparents maybe, and as well as my mom seeing these orbs at the end of beds and just over their pictures.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I feel like, and again, it might be one of those things where it's that overwhelming feeling of calm when you see it.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think that's thing, but just the thought of seeing that is terrifying. Like I haven't seen that. I haven't encountered that.
Wait, so hold on. Are you talking about like in photos?
Not in photo. Like they have physically seen
Oh,
them.
physical. Okay.
Yeah, like seeing the lights on them
Interesting.
or in circle form or the orbs at the end. Like my one cousin, I remember sitting at my aunt's house and then just all talking about this because I think her dad, it was like the anniversary of his passing. But they were talking about the fact that I want to say it was when my mom passed in 2005 that weeks later they remember seeing this orb just sitting at the end of their bed for a couple nights.
Yeah.
And like they weren't free. They were just calm.
Yeah.
It was just there, didn't do anything. But like that whole concept is just wild to me.
I wonder if that's one of those things where like it's scary now, but then you see like tonight or something like that.
Right.
It's there, and you're just like, yeah,
Yeah.
this is
Right,
This
right.
is what it is. Like,
And
this
that's what
is
I would hope it would be,
yeah,
right.
Yeah, yeah.
So my grandfather passed was like mid-May.
Mhm.
It's like 2 weeks later, because I'm in the house that he lived in.
Yeah.
I would smell his cologne in the garage,
Hmm.
and it was to the point like I smelled it, and I'm like, nah, there's no way.
yeah.
So then I ask my mom, I go, hey, stand right here, and she's
Yeah,
she's
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
she has that look
yeah.
like, what the fuck?
Right.
Yeah.
And then when my aunt, before we got into it, when she stopped by, she smelled it too, and she noticed it. Now, when my aunt and I got into it, long story short, aunt always treated me like shit. I'm black sheep. Hi. That's why I'm in broadcasting. But somebody loved me. My family didn't. No.
We already had that as an open.
right? So we got into it. Since then, it's gone.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever had dreams where you talked to your dead relatives before?
Yes.
I have not.
Yes, I have had
See,
one.
So
I-
my aunt Rosie, who I was very close with, she's the reason I got the cross tattoo, because
Yeah.
it's like one of those like she's always here with me.
Yeah, there's one dream that I remember, but I remember having other dreams where I've seen them, and they were just there. But like, yeah,
I going back to like that whole at peace thing, and like you guys were talking about when we were talking about sleeping and sleep paralysis and stuff like. I've had trouble falling asleep in the past, and I've definitely have like bouts of insomnia and stuff like that. But I've always kind of been like, okay, when I'm asleep, I'm with my dad. I don't remember my dreams all too much, but I've never like. There's never been like a week where it's like, yeah, I'm waking up on the wrong side. You know, it's always just been like, yeah, wake up. Normal sleeping to me is very like I close my eyes. I wake up and time has passed. There's not like
Yeah.
I sleep bad. It's not like I had a bad dream tonight. It's
Right.
not, it's all very cut and dry, sleep good, like,
It's like in a movie almost,
yeah.
where like the scene where they would go to sleep and then wake up.
Yeah. It doesn't, like, I feel like there are people who remember their dreams really well and they can recall you their dreams
Like
and
every night.
yeah.
That's how my girlfriend is. Every single night she can remember her dreams.
That's how my girl. And it's for me. It's like I don't remember my dreams, but she'll be like, "Do you sleep good?" I'm like,
There's some weird fucking dreams that I remember.
I
dude.
think I slept
Yeah, it's
good,
always
like,
the fucked up ones.
I got fucking off of the spooky topics after you.
No,
I got
yeah,
a funny ass one.
No, I've always felt like sleeping to me is a very peaceful, normal, like you said, like a movie. The cut to the next scene and they're waking up. It's like
Yep.
I've never had any weird bouts or like except for that sleep paralysis. And,
Right.
I wonder if that's an anxiety thing.
It might be.
I think
Anxiety,
it.
Y'all got
depression.
anxiety?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
A lot
it
of
is. I think it is.
Yeah, I
It's
do.
probably
I got
like the
anxiety
biggest
and
part of all of
paranoia.
that. Like with
Because like
paranoia a lot at times.
with the like
especially when I'm by
exploding head
myself.
syndrome and stuff
Yeah,
like
because
that.
I
the
know with-
waking up and the falling asleep with that loud, that has to be
like
Yeah.
I know myself dealing with the anxiety stuff, and I always tell people this, and I know it helps some people and it doesn't, but like the whole like, and you'll understand with anxiety how you have your upswings and your downswings, and it's so fucking drastic. And like people that don't have anxiety don't understand when I say this, so you guys might. I don't have bad days. I have bad moments and good days,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and that helps you from getting sucked into that downswing.
Yeah.
Like you'll like, and you're getting shit on at work, bosses up your ass, just a bunch of stupid shit. That's a bad moment in a good day because it's impossible to have a bad day.
Yeah.
Your
I mean,
entire day is not bad, but you're gonna have some shit moments.
I mean, there's some times too. I mean, even this happened this week while I've been in Ohio, so like my girlfriend can testify to it. There was one night where I woke up and I was super claustrophobic. Like I just felt like I was
Really?
being crowded.
Really?
I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
where I was
interesting.
sitting there and I felt like I was being crowded. My breathing started getting heavy and stuff
like almost
like
like
that.
get off of me. Like
Yeah.
Let me
I
ask you, what'd you do?
I sat up on the edge of the bed. That's
Okay.
what I did. I
I've
moved
had that
around.
happen several times.
and
I
I
just either
let-
sit up or leave the room.
Yeah,
I gotta go.
Yeah, I let the cold air of like the fan hit me, getting out of the comforters and stuff, and I let the cold air hit me, and it just felt a lot better rather than being all warm. Because when you're crowded by things, your body feels warm because the
Right.
heat, so. But yeah, so
Anxiety is so weird because we all know that it's in your brain. Everybody
Yeah.
knows that it's in.
It's all in your head, man.
It's in everyone's brains.
Mhm.
But as you're going through it, it is so perpetually real.
Yeah,
You are
yeah.
dying. You are in a dire
Yeah.
state. You
Yeah.
need to leave. You need to whatever it is that your brain is telling. It's dire and it's real, and you like so much so that you make everyone around you make it feel real. Like
And
it's
Right.
it's so real to you that you
It's
make-
almost like you need it justified.
yes.
Yeah.
You brought this up to me a couple weeks ago, and it's the first time I've heard anybody besides myself have anything like this, so I want to put it out there on this
Mhm.
platform. You said phone anxiety.
Yeah.
I
huge
have,
phone
for the past
anxiety.
2 months, I have had phone anxiety, and you described it perfectly when you said that because I didn't have a word for it.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Notifications on my phone.
No, I
Having the fear of getting notifications
Yeah.
on my phone.
I hate it
Texts,
so
Snapchats
much.
that are unopened.
Well,
Yep.
I
For,
don't think
for
Having
me,
a call for me, like anything to that level where like I am going to get some kind of news or some kind of information that I am not like knowledgeable already. Like if I send you a meme and I'm expecting a reaction, I'm okay.
Yeah.
If I get a snap, it could be from someone I know it could be from a Snapchat from
Yeah.
Shayne out of the blue, and I'm like, shit, what's wrong? Does he have
Yeah,
COVID? Is
yeah.
something gonna happen? Is he
Yeah.
leaving the show?
and you're sitting
yeah.
there and you get the notification, you turn back around,
And it says hi.
and you're
Yeah.
and you're
And
just
it's
like
a fucking lost media video.
Yeah.
no, and you're like, she's probably just sending me a fucking stupid meme or
Right.
like whatever. But
Right.
then you sit there and you're lying down, and for 10 seconds later, you open your eyes back up. You're like,
Well,
something could be.
Yeah.
fucked
What
up.
if
Yeah.
not? What if that's not the
Like,
case?
well,
Yeah.
And then you do it, and it's a meme. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck.
for me, it's so like I have a video of it because I wanted to talk myself. Like I was dealing with it really bad in the car one time, and I
Yeah.
wanted to talk myself through like what I was feeling in the raw. And it came down to like it's this. You are then with unprompted expected response.
Mhm.
You are then put in this position to I have sent you something. Now you are then forced to say something, whether you wanted to,
engage or not.
Yeah, and so
We're expected to.
I go on with like technology and phones and stuff like that. I think it's because we in our age have grown up with technology at a similar rate to technology growing up
with us,
which is a whole
with us,
different universe,
and we are
a whole different conversation.
We are the only generation that can say that with modern technology.
The guinea pig.
And so now we're in this state where we're like conscious enough to know that we've had this thing next to us this whole time, and we've willingly been like, yeah, I want to look at this, I will. But now you're getting a Snapchat or you're getting a and you're like, I don't want to. It's almost like a rebellious.
Well,
like, I'm not. I don't. This thing doesn't control me. I don't have to respond if I don't. You know.
See, I'm not even there.
That's where it gets to for me. Of like, I won't let this thing, like every aspect of every form of community of it's all like you have to do it. It has to be said. You have to. It's like, I don't let this thing is here for
me, not
me.
The other way around.
Yeah. I'm not here for it. Yeah.
So I think what you're speaking to is why people are going nuts the way that they are in younger generations.
Yeah.
So like the shootings and things.
Yeah.
I think that has to do with it. And I've talked about this at length, even on air at the station, where I go, you got to realize when I'm talking to like, the people that are 40 plus, when you had a bad day at school, you could get away from it.
Yeah, you came home.
When that guy was fucking with you all day, you could get away from it. Now it's there.
Yeah.
They're getting tagged and shit. They're constantly getting texts. They're getting phone calls. It's always there.
Yeah.
So like you don't have that separation anymore. And then let me ask you this, because we all deal with anxiety. Because I actually got into it with somebody today. When you have a lot of shit going on, you just become like the zoom. Tunnel vision. Absolutely.
I gotta do this.
And so like, and when your mind's not right, you're going, all right, I know what I need to do to fix it. I just need to do it. And it's going to take time to do it, but I can do it.
Yeah.
So you kind of cut people out.
Yeah.
It's nothing personal to them. Nothing personal to them at all.
Yeah. You got to do what you got to do.
Literally, I was trying to explain that to someone today. And they're going, well, why don't you just tell me what's going on? Because I don't know what's going on.
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And I literally...
I gotta get away. I got to do what I got to do. And then I'll come back and we can talk about it later.
I've had to tell this person this 4 separate times in the last week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Where I'm going, when I figure it out, I will tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they end up, it's like, they go off. You're a terrible fucking person.
Oh, yeah.
How and I'm going, okay.
Well, and it's because that it's so tough battling with this because it's like, you got to keep other people in mind of like, there are people who that's just how they are. They're nosy Nancy's and they're just, well, what's going on? What can I do? Where can I?
It comes from a good place, but it doesn't help.
Yeah, you get it out of that kind of like hero mindset, that selfish kind of hero. Like, I can fix them,
Let me say this real quick, just because I think, I don't want to speak for anyone, but I think we're all in the same boat when it comes to it. I've had to cut out relationships. I've had to cut out friends. I've had to cut out people that I just met because of situations where like that, where it's just that day. We're like, I am not okay. I do not know what is wrong.
Yep.
I am trying to figure it out. I can't. I physically cannot communicate it to you. Like, I don't have the words for it.
You just feel weird.
It's right, and it's not against you. Yeah. It's not against anyone. It's just I am trying to figure out what these emotions are and what is wrong.
What I'm processing,
right?
And
so
then I can output it.
And to those people that are receiving that message from people like us, where it's I'm just trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
it's not a blow off. It's not on you. It's literally just we don't understand what is going on right now in our mind, in our body, in our life, and we need the space to figure it out.
It got to the point because she called me when I was on the way here. And literally I answer, I go, what's up? I want to know why you're such a fucking narcissist and you can't even take time. And I go, wait. And literally and to the point she's going, I've never heard you talk in this aggressive tone. I go, I'm just fucking talking. I go, you got to back the fuck off.
Yeah.
I go, seriously, I'm telling you what's going on. When I know, I will let you know.
Right.
Until then, don't bother me about it.
Yeah.
So what, you don't even want to talk anymore because you won't even take, I will text you when I am ready.
That's
when I am ready, like literally that's what I'm doing. And like, I'll get loud to be funny. I hardly ever get loud to be serious. And it's just like, you gotta and I kept going, you're listening, but are you comprehending what I am telling you?
The only time
because this is what's going on.
Yelling, and every time, usually the only time I'm really angry is when I'm pissed off at myself for something stupid that I did. Like an example is Like there was it was a couple nights ago when I was going to that one party, and we were so I'm gonna show up there at 6 and help everybody set up and
Mhm.
stuff like that. And then I woke up from a nap at 6 and like quarter after, and I was like,
that threw the
and
whole,
I was sitting there, I was like, fuck.
yeah, that threw
And
the
I was
whole
sitting
night
there,
off.
and I was driving, and then just all the little things kept
Yeah.
building up.
Yep.
Mhm.
You know, someone just like, of course, there's like 15 cars turning where I'm supposed to turn left. You're like,
yep.
damn
Everything,
it. Yeah.
everything that could be happening is
Yeah.
happening. Yeah, there's been to talk on that, like the anger, that like outward anger towards those people. I've had to tell my mom, I've had to tell my girlfriend, I've had to tell so many people in my life, like I know that I don't understand what's happening to me right now, and I know that if I would just like, it would lash out. It would be anger. It would be it wouldn't be coherent. It wouldn't be how
Right.
I'm really truly
It's
feeling.
my anxiousness
Yeah.
that's
So,
doing
like,
it. It's not you.
You have to let me be angry by myself
And figure it out.
Yep.
and,
Right.
and
Yeah.
and then I can come back when I'm not angry
Yep.
or not tense or not freaking out, and I can explain to you what happened.
Yeah.
And that is always a really hard dance with people, is like, I know I'm mad and I know you want to do something, but you have to let me go so that I can, for me, and then I can come back for
Right.
you.
Nobody's going to understand the way my mind works better than me.
Boom.
yeah.
So
And
I'm
if
going to
you
know
don't
how
know-
to fix it. Right.
Then that's the worst part.
So-
So you can't possibly
But-
no one
but
else
at
could
the same
possibly know.
time,
And then you just go down a spiral.
I'm going to be
Boom.
the only one that can figure it
right,
out.
right.
So just give me that time. Let me be. And when I know, I will be more than happy to let you know. But until then, I'm going to be an asshole.
Yeah.
So I'm
Right.
going to just stay away from it.
Right,
Let me put
right.
it this way too, for anyone on the other side of this argument, like the people that are
And we
reaching out.
appreciate your
Right.
help.
Yeah,
That's the big
yeah.
thing. We
Yeah.
It's like a
Let-
thank you. I apologize that
Right.
I'm like this way.
And that's let me put it this way.
It's
And
not saying like leave me alone. You know?
Right.
It's
And-
like,
Shane, I think you specifically will agree with the second half of this
Mhm.
statement. Let me preface by saying I am not a good person. I do not believe I'm a good person, and I never will, no matter how many times anyone says anything about me.
None of us are good people.
I
around
am.
here.
I've told people before that I am evil personified. I am no good. There's nothing good about me. It's okay. Don't worry about me. That being said, I have had to have 2-hour, 3-hour, 4-hour conversations on the phone in person with people that I care about deeply about this exact situation where, again, I understand you're reaching out and you want to
Right.
help, but I physically do not have the words to know what to tell you.
You
Yeah.
gotta-
And the worst part about it from our standpoint, and again, I don't want to speak for anyone else,
Yeah.
but the worst part about it is I always feel bad having to do that because like
Yeah.
I am genuinely sorry
Yeah.
that I don't know
Yeah.
what I can tell you.
yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Like I
get-
can't give you answers that I don't personally have. You want to know what's wrong or how you can help, or I don't know because I don't know what's going on.
I get really intense. It's not like I'm yelling or I'm like talking in a combative tone. I'm just very
There.
passionate about. I'm like, I get very physical with my hand. The Italian starts to, and like,
yeah.
it's not that I'm mad or it's not that this is anger coming out towards you. It's that, or I'm not trying to yell at you. I feel passion towards this, and so I'm putting that passion where I
Mhm.
feel it is best, like where it is raw.
For me, it's
this
the
is like-
frustration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's the frustration coming out in myself that I can't understand what is going on, and I'm trying to figure it out. And you sitting here asking me what's going on is not helping. And literally,
Yeah.
and I
'Cause
always
have
tell
the same question.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right. And I always tell people, when I know, I'll let you know. That's why, like, when I can tell you're in a funk and when you can tell I'm in one, what do? Hey, you good?
Yeah.
No, but I will be. Okay,
Yeah.
you need anything, let me know.
And
That's all you need to do.
yeah, that's the
yeah.
thing too, because to my knowledge, the four of us, individual, collective, never have had a conversation like this just openly with each other, right?
Yeah.
But I think, could all pick up that this is kind of the general way that we all are. We are similar in this vein.
Mhm.
And just like you said, I can recall at least a time with each of you where it's been like, the person's off and like you want to give them that space because you've been in that.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
just like,
It's just
hey,
well, I
but
don't
if
know.
you're good,
Yeah.
I'm here.
But
Yeah.
it feels shitty if you're not
Right.
not doing it.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And like, I'm sure to someone on the other side of that who doesn't deal with this, it's the bare minimum where it's like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't care. You just said, hey, what's up? Are you okay? You didn't ask me about this or how you could help. It's like, because that's not
Yeah.
what I've experienced.
Right.
I
When,
don't.
Yeah.
when we're saying you good, that's us going, you need anything? What's
Right.
going on?
Yeah,
Do you want to
that's-
talk? Do you want to
That's
come
us
over?
doing the most
Right.
because we know that
Yeah.
that is what the most can be
And
done.
there's a term for going back to what we were talking about, how you just can't really put words to things and there's
Mhm.
that emotion.
Mhm.
It's called linguistic reducibility, where it's
Mm.
basically mean that your vocabulary can just not comprehend
Yeah.
like what's happening. Yeah,
That's so talking again about the religious stuff, about the ghost stuff, about this stuff. It's gonna go back to drugs, but I've taken
Always with drugs, with the fucking pot. I had
I've-
to do it if he wasn't
I've-
going to.
I've
yeah.
taken shrooms before. I've taken acid before. There's something that comes with it, and this is too. It has like into like this the healing stones and the spirituality of it all. It's like there are definitely things that your dumb little human brain cannot comprehend, and there are thoughts that can be had that. Or like there are thoughts out there that can be had potentially at higher states or whatever, or when you die and you move on to the whatever it is.
And it's just that inner monologue
You-
kind of talking.
You can't conceptualize those thoughts. You can't verbalize like exactly what you're saying. You can't put those thoughts into words, but you know that it's there. You feel it. It's that raw, like, okay,
And that's where the spirituality starts to come
boom,
into play.
boom.
Right.
Yeah. It's I don't know. It's all very interesting.
And that's why there's been so many studies in the past with
Yeah.
like psychedelics in the brain and how it
Yeah,
affects behavior.
And that's the whole like the whole psychedelic thing is like there was a point in time where I was like really big into it and totally loved the hippie dude, Pauly Shore, like I loved that. That was
any chance to bring up
I
Pauly
love
Shore.
Pauly
Dude,
Shore.
listen,
all the time.
Son-in-Law is a great
I
movie.
love Pauly Shore.
It's a great movie.
But I was totally like in that lifestyle for I soaked in it for a second. It's fun to kind of have that like lackadaisicality about yourself. Taking mushrooms and stuff like I've only taken it a couple times, and it was very much like I'm doing this to experience the experience that can be had through to do my research.
That
right?
scares the shit out of me.
Same.
What?
That's the thing that
So-
turns me off about it.
So
having
for
the
me-
unknown? Is that
So
what it-
for
Yeah, it's,
so
it's
for
an
me,
unknown, for me, it was like an unknown of, and I always talk about this with my girlfriend. It's about that initial reaction you have of like you hear unknown, you hear new experience,
Yeah.
you hear is it good or is it is it that
Yeah.
like do you look at it positively and like this could be fun, or do you look at it like that's scary?
That's why
I
it's
don't
really
know.
dangerous to do it by yourself.
Yeah,
Because if
yeah.
you think somewhat bad,
Yeah,
and if
it
you
can
kind-
completely
it can ruin everything and
Yeah.
send you
there,
down that
the
path.
shit
hang
that
on.
I've repressed,
You have to
I've
be very,
repressed
like-
for a reason, and I'm scared that it's going to
okay.
come out.
Let
Okay.
me real
Okay.
quickly just throw this in here too.
Mhm.
When you talk about a lot of these things with
Mhm.
psychedelics, and I know people personally that it has affected them to great negative lengths.
Yeah,
I know people
yeah,
personally that's
yeah.
affected them to positive lengths,
Right.
right? However, the thing that scares me the most if I were ever to try anything like that is
Yeah.
and it goes back to even what we were just talking about knowing that you're not okay and trying to process it yourself.
Mhm.
I know how my brain functions.
Mhm.
I know what I can right now comprehend and what I cannot, or I guess I don't know what I can't, but I know my limit, I guess,
Right.
as to what I need to succeed and achieve, right?
Right.
These things are brain altering.
Mhm.
That is the part that I'm afraid of. I don't want to not be able to do something I could do before,
Right.
or not even remember how I went about doing something I've done before. And I know the argument a lot of the time is why I've never experienced that. I've only it's been a momentary thing, but at the same time, I personally
That
know
terrifies
someone
me.
very, very close to me who cannot even smoke weed anymore
No,
because they had a bad trip, and
Yeah.
because of it, like
So-
they cannot breathe when they're around anything like that.
I'm gonna say a name that you guys might be able to pick up on, but Jamar, you know Jamar?
Shame arm.
Oh, I know exactly the story you're going to
Jamar-
talk about. That's the first time.
Football guy, big
Oh,
football guy
That's
from
the
our
first
school.
time I heard anything about that.
So there was this guy who went to our high school, and he was like our star. He was literally the golden boy of our high school. He was the math teacher, high school coach's son.
Mhm.
He was the star quarterback. All the girl, like he was the dude.
He
right?
was your stereotypical.
If there was
football
a
guy.
Zac Efron of your
Right.
high school,
If
this
there was,
was
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
he went to college to play football. He got caught up in drug. Like he already was like dealing with some mental shit. He got caught up in drugs. But an interesting point that I always like to come to is like he was very much always portrayed as this golden boy. He
Right.
had this
The
title.
stigma, yeah.
He had the stigma growing up of like, this is going to be how you are, and you're going to be successful, and it's going to be this way. And so then he got caught up in like mushrooms and LSD and all like the crazy psychoact. You know, he got really deep into it in college, and now he's a complete, like his life is in a completely different place, and he's not on that path, and he's burnt
He's very
a lot.
low functioning.
He's very low functioning, and he's burnt a lot of those bridges through like the school and stuff like that. That his family was very well connected in the school, and
Yeah.
so then in turn he was very well connected in the school.
Right.
Like openly burnt all of those bridges. So
Whoa.
like it is definitely a very real. The way that it's always been described to me, and I like to think of it as, is like. So there's like you have your third eye, and it's in your forehead, and that's, your trippy. You see that's the stigma, right? Is that you have like the stereotype is that you have a third eye, and that's your enlightenment eye, and that's what connects you to the higher. Taking those mushrooms and taking the acid and stuff like that, it opens that third eye a little bit, but you don't want to open it so much that you get blinded by the light and you become
Rubbed up like a deuce in the middle of the night. Yeah.
Right. You don't want to become a J-Mar. You don't want to become like you don't want to overdo it. But yeah, I've and like I said, I've only done it a couple times, and it's always been like controlled, and I have like a safe space, and because every time I am on a psychedelic, I know that it's like I'm letting go, and just whatever happens to me happens to me. I let myself go like dumb brain. I'm just like, I'm a child. Let me live in this play world for a couple hours and like see what happens.
I'll say this because a lot of the times, and I hate both of these extremes. A lot of the times, people who are stoners, people who do hallucinogenics, anything but hard drugs, because like, again, fuck you if you're a heroin dealer or doing heroin, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You need help, and you should seek it.
But man, that drug has to be the best feeling in the world.
But like,
that's why it's so addictive.
Yeah,
Right.
But anything regarding like hallucinogenics, regarding marijuana, anything like that, people get naturally a bad stigma about. Oh, it's the burnout pothead, this, that, and the other. Which again, there are those cases where people think marijuana is a personality trait.
Yeah,
and it's at that point where I'm like, I don't want to associate with you.
Yeah.
Right.
To the other side of that, I am very publicly straight edge. I've never drank, smoked, I've done any kind of drug like that.
Yeah.
And that's my personal choice. But I also hate the stigma of people who are being like, well, they shouldn't do that. You're wrong for that. That's gross.
Yeah. It's the vegan hating meat eaters.
Yeah, it needs to be said that like everybody is in charge of their own life when it comes to this. You are more than welcome to do whatever, and your friends are more than welcome to do whatever. Anyone who is contemplating doing either of these cases, know the risks and benefit going.
Yeah, 100%.
Know that
100%.
it's not going to be a beautiful. It's going to be
the people
a
that
set
I've
thing,
the people that I've done this with. It's always very much a sense of like, this is the power, and we have to give it. We have to give ourselves to this power for however long it may be. It might be
ride the wave.
It might be a really spiritual journey for Jordan, but then the three of us might be on some kind of crazy mythical adventure, and it's like more funny for us or something like that. And we might
one is life changing.
Yeah, but then for Jordan, it's like he has this epiphany, and it's all. Everybody's doing their own thing with this collective psychosis that's going on, right?
Have you heard the neurological or like psychological thing that's been going around? I know there's a couple TED Talks about it, and how what you see and what your perception is a controlled hallucination. Before, and that's what your brain considers when you're sober and when you're just kind of there. Yeah, it says like, if a hallucination is an uncontrolled perception, then perception is a controlled hallucination.
Got you.
So it's when you agree on a hallucination, so what you're seeing is called reality. So that's
okay.
That's the thing. That's some
I see that
neurological and even philosophical.
Yeah, and that's like the thing that goes into the drugs is like you have to be very like positively open-minded of like,
Yeah, because
okay,
if you're not, then
yeah, if you take DMT or something like that and you run into like the DMT gods or whatever, you have to be like, okay, this thing is here to guide me. This thing is here to, I don't know.
I wouldn't do that.
I don't know what it is. It's like, and see, that's where like the that's the difference. That is at the end of the day,
that terrifies me.
That is the difference.
Right.
If it terrifies you, don't do it. If for me, it's like, I would take DMT, and if I were to come across that, I have a very strong feeling in my heart that I would be like, okay, this thing is. I've heard the stories. This thing is probably just here to help.
I'm gonna make
this
a
thing
really.
is just gonna guide.
I'm gonna
like,
make a
let me
really
just let
big
it
circle.
take me.
I'm gonna make a
Yeah.
really big circle real
Yeah.
quick. Having that experience, like for example, on DMT, like you
Mhm.
said, right,
Mhm.
and seeing these hallucinated beings
Mhm.
or something. On
I've never been on
plane.
DMT, but like that's you see
Sure.
these things that guide you.
It's the gnomes, right?
Yeah.
So, but like having
Speak for
these
the
otherworldly beings or these hallucinogenics,
Yeah.
I see it the same way as I see a demon. I do not want to see anything
Yep.
on that plane.
Yeah.
I do not want to.
I get that.
Even
No, I
if it
get
is
that.
completely real and exists and it's just out of my perception, I don't want to see anything on that plane where
Yeah.
There
a
are-
demon is here and it can harm me. I don't want to see
Right.
anything on the plane of I am not in my proper headspace and I
Yep.
don't know what's going on
So,
and there is a being here.
talking about
schizophrenia must freak you
Yeah.
out then.
I know schizophrenics that do LSD and it scares the fuck out of me
D-
for
D-
them.
Well, DMT is an interesting. Just to talk about what you said for a second, DMT is an interesting one because I've seen videos of people and like watched interviews of people who they take the DMT and it's a 10-minute thing. They
But
smoke.
It feels like
they smoke it.
5 hours.
Well,
to them.
No, it feels like lifetimes.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I did acid, the way that me and the people that I did, by the way, did acid once, will only ever do it once because it was so crazy.
Mhm.
It genuinely felt like I had lived multiple lifetimes, and
Mm-hmm.
like I know that I was in my backyard the whole time, but it felt like seasons on a TV show were going by, and I was just
You told me about this.
I was
yeah.
Fucking WandaVision
like
over
yeah,
here.
yeah.
binge,
So-
binge watching
well,
the seasons.
That's why he likes Marvel so
well,
much.
well, I got there's this one thing about this guy who had a bad acid trip, and he was describing it like this, and it's kind of like this. He says he felt like he was in a giant clock, and each little dot, each clicking, each second was the equivalent of a human life.
Yeah.
And living and dying was part of that eternal chain, and the clock was tracking all of it.
It will
good.
go,
So,
and
yeah.
like you start
I'm
to
good.
overanalyze, and
Yeah.
you
I'd rather
will
be
like
fishing.
have one pattern of thought, and then you'll zoom out, and it'll be another completely pattern of thought, and then 20 minutes later you'll zoom back in
I'll
and
play
have that
Minecraft.
same.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
I'll zone out to some Minecraft or Slime
I'll-
Rancher.
Go-
But my thing with the thing that I was saying with DMT is like there will be people who will smoke it. It'll be a 15-minute altercation for like the real world, what we see.
Yeah.
They'll come back saying like, I lived multiple lifetimes, and the biggest thing that I've seen a couple people say is like, I got too much. I know too
Mhm.
much. I got too much knowledge in my brain. I don't need this
Mhm.
knowledge. Like, it's just too much for my human
Shit
brain.
that they can't fathom.
Yeah, it's
right?
too much for my human brain to handle. I wish I wouldn't have done it because of the amount of information I got. And that is something that always, like, with DMT specifically, with mushrooms, with like acid, I said I don't really, but like,
Let
I know
me-
that those things aren't gonna.
Let me contradict myself real
Mhm.
quick. I stated that I don't like the extreme on either way of
Yeah.
writing something off that's not your lifestyle just because it's not your lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, other than the hard drugs, again, take
Mhm.
that out of the equation because obviously people shouldn't agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's make that clear. Like you probably shouldn't be doing hard drugs.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So hallucinogenics, acid, weed, LSD, DMT. Right.
Mhm.
The one thing that I will advise against, maybe even to my ignorance, because obviously I've never tried it,
Mhm.
is LSD or acid.
Mhm.
Like just because I have heard too many stories of people being permanently changed for it for
Yeah.
the worse
Yeah.
that I just
Also
highly advise
kinda
against it.
Sketchy
Well-
because nobody really knows where it comes from.
The way that it's always been described to me, and the way that I look at it after taking both is like, it sounds really dumb, but acid is like Star Wars, mushrooms is like Lord of the Rings. Mushrooms is a lot more. I took mushrooms in Colorado in the mountains, and it was
Oh,
genuinely one of the most beautiful. Like, I was in nature, and I got to see like the clouds looked really nice, and I remember I was closing my eyes and I was seeing like the 70s color patterns, but it was the
Mhm.
outline of the mountains. It was-
Kaleidoscope.
yeah, it was really like, it was a lot more, I was one with nature, that kind of thing. Acid, I remember I was sitting in my lawn chair, I looked up, and the stars were, it was like when you close your eyes and you see a bunch of different colors.
Yeah.
But they were all shooting past, like up in the sky. And it felt, as I was looking up, it felt like I was in a rocket ship, like going up into the sky. And it was the most intense. And like, I was looking across the campfire and I saw my friend's face like elongating and like almost melting. Like it was so intense. And acid will last like 10, 12 hours. Mushrooms is only like 4 hours.
Right.
So with mushrooms, it's like, okay, a couple hours of my day are going to go by. It's going to be weird. I'm going to go into this weird side mission adventure thing. With acid, it's like I'm taking all day or half of my entire being awake and then like the come down, you have to think of a come down on acid. I remember I was watching a Seth Rogen movie and like the whole day I just felt off. I felt really like not depressed, not gray or mute, but very like
the hangover kind of
like parallel to reality or like horizontal to reality. And it was but then mushrooms is just kind of like I felt a little tired, and then I watched Coco, and I felt okay. Like nothing, like
I cried at the end.
Yeah. Like with mushrooms, it's very much like I know what's happening. I get like little silly and laughy colors start coming in, and I'm I like to be outside. I like to be with people I love, and then it goes away after a while. I know that it'll go away. Acid, I could see the feeling if you take a lot of it not going away, this isn't ending, you know?
I will say when it comes to like creative mindsets and stuff like that, acid definitely has boosted a lot of people. Like when it comes to like doing creative stuff, like art, music.
There can be there are very specific niche, like it will help you, in that situation if you're that kind of person doing that kind of thing.
But there's this one topic that I know most people know about it, but I have you try to look it up on YouTube, you try to look it up if there's any talks or any documentaries about it,
right?
But how people with like schizophrenia and autism, how they're really good at one particular art subject.
Yeah.
Like,
damn it,
they're hyper focused.
Did I take your topic?
No, I was just saying, damn it, I'm autistic.
But there's my friend Noah, you've met
a savant. It's called a savant.
His aunt used to work at a psych ward, and he said there was this one patient that had severe schizophrenia, and when he wasn't in his room or he wasn't just like doing daily activities, they had a piano for him that he would sit, and without music, she said that he would be playing like the most beautiful piano pieces like you would ever hear, and he like nobody taught him whatsoever, and he just sat there and he just got put into that place, and it just like
it's like there's someone with autism who knows you like I've seen. There was a kid who went to our school.
This is why I don't do drugs.
Oh yeah, I wasn't high during this. I was just being real stupid.
No, I think you were tripping a little bit.
I was not.
Can I share a story about?
That's me with long hair, by the way. I love it.
Wow. And Jordan, you might know this story because it involves a wrestler.
Love this.
So there's a reason why I will never even I would never consider doing heroin anyways.
Yeah.
But just like the reason why I'm completely turned off on it. So Sean Waltman, X-Pac.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
He shares a story about how when he was really deep into heroin, he got so fucked up on it, he stood in the same spot for a week. And it didn't feel like a week. So the only reason he got out of it is because another wrestler, Steve Blackman, went to come check up on him. He was standing there so long, the blood in his body went down to his feet and his shoes were busted because of the pressure.
Yeah.
And Steve Blackman basically had to kick his ass to get him out of it, which legit MMA guy, Steve Blackman. Yeah. And then he went to the hospital, and I believe since then he's been clean.
Yeah.
That's
crazy. X-Pac is see what you want about pro wrestling. Yeah. X-Pac is a fucking athlete.
Oh
yeah. The dude kept up with everybody.
Dude tore his anus in the ring.
Right? So
and finished.
Never mind. But
weird thing.
And also finished the match.
So this dude's very good athletic, in good shape, and it fucked him up that bad. I don't need to go there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I just watched. I've been really big into because it's sprouting. It's trending popular. But Gonzo style people going out, man on the street style interviews of sketchy places, or I saw
Channel 5.
Yeah, Channel 5 stuff like that. I saw one. It wasn't Channel 5, but they went to the most drug-ridden city in Chicago or something like that, and they were talking about how the people there on the streets, it's so like unpoliced and stuff like that. They're handed out like samples so that they get people hooked, first of all.
Yeah.
But then they'll find like, oh, this person OD'd and died, and they bought it from this person. They'll start buying from that person because
It's so
the
strong.
high was so good that they OD'd, and there will be people that like give the like, because cops in those cities pass out Narcan to the public.
Janis
And-
Joplin.
And so, like, the public will Narcan these people, and they'll be mad that they saved them because they killed their high, and they can't. Once you Narcan someone, they can't get high off heroin again.
They traced the heroin that was found in Janis Joplin to the dealer, and it was a string of people within 2 weeks that had all died from this same batch.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. It like that is one of those things again where I talk about, I'm open to taking these drugs. I have a positive. There are definitely drugs that like cocaine and stuff like that. The high is just too nice. Like I know that I would probably think anyone in this room would probably think that the high is just too nice to not stop.
I mean, there's
you know?
a dude that I know back in Arizona that he says that every time he drinks heavily, in order to stay awake and not black out, he would just do coke and he would just be up for the whole rest of the night and he'd still be like conscious and like not blacked out.
Let me
So.
say this, and maybe it's selfish, right?
Mhm.
And I think it is probably very selfish. There are, as much as I've said about respecting people's lifestyles and just letting them live for them, there are points with 3 people that I have been mad at them each individually, not like mad at them,
Yeah.
but more like worried mad, just because I have seen choices they've made at certain points in their life and have had the fear of, I swear to God, if you die from this,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
going to be livid
Yeah.
because I refuse to be, I refuse not to be the first one of my friend group to die. That has to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is going to be me because I am not going to be able to handle anybody else getting lowered into the ground. So that first spot is mine.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I die.
I died. I died
I
today.
die.
That being said, though, like if you are or know somebody who is doing or addicted to hard drugs, there's always help for that.
Yeah, there's always.
And
yeah.
you should do their best to seek it or advise it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because like that's not somewhere
Yeah.
anyone should be.
Do your
Same
part.
with alcohol too.
Do your part if you can.
And the best help that you can find for people like that are the recovering addicts.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. All very true. It's just so crazy to me that like
and then there's that
There-
mindset of people that don't want to quit. It's like, they don't know what I'm going through.
well
Dude,
yeah,
Right.
there are the
Do you guys know the sorry to cut you
No,
off?
you're
Do you know
good,
the
you're good.
orange juice story? Is that something like folklore that has gone around, or is that a genuine story?
The orange
I don't,
juice
yeah, I don't
story.
know what you're
Acid and
maybe,
the orange juice story? None of you guys?
maybe continue a
Okay,
little bit more.
so I was told, and again, I swear I've heard this from someone else too,
Mhm.
so it might have been folklore.
Mhm.
But I was told by my cousin at one point when I was probably in middle school that he knew someone that would do acid every day of the week, and it got to the point where it was so bad that the dude had a bad trip and thought that he was a glass of orange juice
Mm.
and was afraid that if anyone came near him or touched him that he was going to spill, and it permanently fucked him up to the point where he could not be around anybody.
Yeah, I feel like I've heard that story before. I don't know if that's like
Yeah, I've never heard that.
folklore
Yeah,
or,
I
but
haven't
I've heard that.
either.
I've heard that story before.
Okay.
Woof.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like it can really fuck up your brain, or the high can really be that good that you don't want to stop, like that you can't get yourself to stop. So it's like you got to be able to respect those drugs. You got to be able to respect like I see your power and I
Right.
choose not to go near it.
Yeah,
I
you
know
like-
what you're getting into.
Yeah,
that ain't
yeah.
for me, Chief.
Yeah, right.
So let me ask something real quick, kind of
Yeah.
off topic, but
Mhm.
with the anxiety and everything that we've talked about.
yeah.
I'm not saying they did it the whole time, but anybody in here, when your mom was pregnant with you, did they smoke or smoke before?
Smoke before my
Smoke
mom
before.
did.
Yeah, smoke
my mom
before.
did.
To my knowledge, at least.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I have
Everyone?
I have a
Yeah.
theory on that. I think that has to do with the anxiety and ADHD, different things like that.
I can
taking
get
the
down
That
with
is,
that.
I want to look into that.
Look
Is
into
there
that.
research to that?
I don't believe so.
I mean, I can get
but
down with that. That
but
makes a lot
everybody
of
that I've
sense.
spoken to when I have had these conversations, I just so happen to work it in and ask.
They have anxiety and depression.
And-
their parents smoked or
Yeah.
their mom smoked.
Yep.
Yeah. That's like as believable to me as like the royal family killing the Princess Diana.
So pretty believable.
Yeah, it's pretty. That makes.
I mean,
sense.
it's-
it ties enough together.
I'd say
to be like,
90% of the people, they were like, yeah. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Let me
okay.
put a little bit more on. Let me put some sprinkles on that too.
Okay.
Just to just
Mm.
and maybe this is just me. It seems like, and there, don't get me wrong, there's many different forms of depression, anxiety, stress, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Now,
Right.
no one is exactly the same.
Right.
No one is going to have the same experience. However, it seems like, at least from this conversation, that we all are very similar in the ways that we experience anxiety, stress, depression,
Yeah.
at least to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, I think smoking may cause a certain kind, or after effects of smoking may cause a certain specific kind of depression, anxiety, stress. Because I definitely know people who have depression, whose parents weren't smokers, neither of them.
Mm.
And I know from experience with said person that when they go through a period of depression or a low point, that is very different from when I do. And again,
Is
everybody
it like
is
more
different.
severe?
No,
Like it affects them more
No.
severely?
no,
Okay.
almost differently. Just like it's more so. And again, everybody's different. Everybody expresses
Yeah.
differently, and it could just be someone not choosing to express. So I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth
Right.
or say things for anyone. But it could just be from what I have experienced in the conversations I have had. It's more so like what people describe depression as,
Mm.
just sad, down, melancholy, no motivation. Whereas to my personal experience, it's like, it's that, yeah, but it's also, I can't breathe. I
Right.
feel like
Mm.
I'm held
Mhm.
down. Like all these things that like my body just shuts down completely. Whereas to like, I'm at work and I'm making Snapchats that I'm sad, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I think that because it's there's not under it's one of those now where everybody's depressed, so nobody's depressed.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it's become so commonplace now where that's like OCD. You know how many people I know that say that they have OCD, but they don't actually have OCD
Or ADHD.
Yeah,
or
yeah,
ADHD
Yeah.
because it's.
I
don't
am
wanna
1
s-
point away. I took the test. I am 1 point away from having
Mm.
ADHD.
Mm.
I was
Wow.
tested the other day.
Very
Studied
nice.
hard.
I studied hard. I passed. It wasn't open
But-
book.
But I think it's
was
almost trendy right now. So
Yeah.
people will just be like, oh yeah, no, I have this.
Yeah.
No, like no, there's a difference between having, being anxious about something
Uh-huh.
and having anxiety.
Yeah.
There is a difference, and I'm not sitting
Yeah.
here going, I'm high and mighty,
Right.
but because it goes back to what Jordan said, people handle things differently.
Right.
I always go back to when my dad left. Some people, when their dad, a parent leaves, it's the saddest fucking moment of their life.
Mhm.
Whereas for me, I'm like, yay, I'm free.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's just different the way that people handle things.
Yeah.
But there, and I guess, but at the same time, we've all dealt with it pretty much our entire lives.
Right.
So we know how to go about it. We didn't have people sitting there going, it's okay to be
Yeah.
sad. We had
Yeah.
people going,
Or
fucking
forcing
get over
pills
it.
or
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. I
So that's
had people forcing pills.
that's something that I get into with like how people talk is like you have to learn. Yeah, you learn English, you learn Japanese, you learn Spanish, you learn
learn
these different,
English.
you learn these different
Spanglish?
you learn these different languages, and like you think you know how everyone in America talks, but I have to learn how Jordan talks. I have to learn how Evan talks. I have to learn how Jake talks.
Right.
I have to learn that language. I have to learn your language to really understand the message that you're trying to convey.
Mhm.
The same thing applies to how you feel your depression and the way that you handle anger and the way you handle anxiety and the way you have to learn how it's like I have to learn how I work so that I can explain to you how I work
Well
so that
said.
you can understand
Yes.
how
Well
I
said.
work.
Yes.
You know, I have to understand why I'm anxious so that I can tell you why I'm anxious. I have to be depressed for a second so that I can relay to you why I was depressed and
Yep.
then we can all understand.
Yeah.
You have to be able to learn that person and you have to be able to learn yourself
Yep.
equally, and then you have to be able to like communicate both sides of that. You have to be able to understand their side of it and why they want to, and you have to be able to convey your side and why you are doing what you're doing or whatever may have you.
On the flip side,
Mm-hmm.
in this modern day where there is, I do think there is a lot more genuine depression
Be
it factors that are with technology.
I think
with
technology is a
previous
big part of it.
generations,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I do think there is a significant spike, and the statistics are right in that.
Yeah.
Fun part about that is you can spend 10 minutes with someone you don't know or a friend you haven't seen in a while. You can pick up on like, yeah, no, they probably have some stuff they're going through with how many times they make the dark joke.
Yeah,
Right.
They're not doing too good. Or they're like, I can tell they're probably not doing too good today. Yeah.
You meet someone.
Well, that's the third Nazi joke in the last 3 minutes.
Yeah.
What's going on? You
Yeah.
want to talk?
just
Yeah.
this show.
right.
Yeah, you can pick apart those things pretty.
Right.
But to that, and I had this conversation with you a couple nights ago, Evan.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and again, it's really more so about the medical system not doing what it should and just throwing pills at it to try and fix people and be quote unquote normal. I think everybody, at least at some point in their life, goes through or has depression.
Yeah.
I think that is a normal thing, especially in teenage and adolescence. I think that is a completely normal thing to experience.
You're trying to figure shit out.
It's
You're
the
literally you don't know.
Now, don't get me wrong. If you are having suicidal thoughts or actions or tendencies, you should seek help, talk to someone, see a therapist, reach out. However, it is completely normal to not like yourself, to be confused, to be in this depressed state. Everyone goes through it, and the answer to it isn't going to the doctor and having pills thrown at you all the time.
It's living through. I always tell myself you got to go through it, not around.
Yeah,
you have to go through these things, not around.
Right.
All of you have to like live through that depression to
There's a short book that I read, and it's kind of
Mein Kampf.
It's kind of a newer one out. Yeah, it's called Mein Kampf. No,
there's a Nazi joke.
Got the tally.
It's a short boys. It's a short book. It's about 50, 70 pages, but it's super small. And it's called The Dip. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but it's about knowing when to quit, knowing when to stick. And it's basically, it starts out whenever you're going like through something, it starts out kind of in the middle. And then for a long time, there's always going to be that huge crash. That's in the middle of that.
Yeah.
And the people that actually make it through, there's different types of like I usually say quitters and people that stick. And it really applies to a whole bunch of things, is that you have to be not really obsessed with getting out of it. Yeah. But
you have to be looking towards that. I've always described, I think what you're talking about is this sentiment that I've had in my brain of, I explained it to one of my friends who was going through something, and I was talking, life is like hills and valleys. There are hills and valleys, and when you're going down that hill, you have to like look up and be like, okay, well, or like I'm going up this hill, it's really hard, but I'm going to have this valley that's going to be really easy to walk down, or I'm going to, literally that, like you have to be, I'm in this, but it's going to be good when I'm going up, when I'm at the top of that hill, it's going to be great. And I know that I'm just in this dip, right? Like I'm in this shitty part right now.
That's what PTW is all about.
So let me ask you guys this each individually. Given the hills and valleys, are you an optimist or a pessimist? More often than the time, do you see yourself going, oh, things are going well, I know that something bad is coming up and it's going to be bad for a while? Or are you more so the person who's in the dip and going, okay, well, it's got to turn around soon. It's going to turn around soon.
I'm more so of an optimist.
Yeah, I think I'm like, it's got to turn around. I got to be, because for me, it's like I got to be okay. Like I know that I'm going to be okay through this. So I just have to be okay to get through this to be okay. So I'm okay. So, okay. It's
kind of selfish, but like I'll see other people's and they've gone through like way shittier things than me. And I'm like, this is kind of, what I'm kind of going through right now is, I know it really sucks, but I mean, like, I'll live through it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That's a tough question.
Because it's circumstantial.
Well, but okay. So I have a weird way of viewing things. So rather than like, I'm very resentful, but I take that resent and I use it as motivation.
Yeah.
So like I literally have like a list in the back of my head of all the fucking people that have wronged me.
Yeah.
And so like
the ego.
It might be, I don't know. But so like every time I do something at PTW, it's to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that would be at the top or at the bottom, but I'm always, I guess even when I'm in a low swing, I'm going, okay, I'll get out of it. Just don't know when. But like like I said, I remember a kid in 9th grade that like told me I wouldn't make it in broadcasting. Like I still remember that fucking dude's
We're not
name.
blown anyway. So.
Right. And I don't, even though they fucking called me back.
Yeah,
Fuck
well.
them.
No,
But,
you're the
like-
now you're the Ford truck guy.
Right. But like, I remember that kid in 9th grade telling me that I wouldn't make it in broadcasting. I still remember his face. I remember the fucking room he said it in.
the look
I
and
remember the
everything.
class. I remember the tone of voice he said it. And it's on like, I hope when he and I know it doesn't affect him, but I hope when he hears my name on the fucking radio, he's like, oh shit, I was wrong. Or like, even like
Yeah.
with,
Yeah.
right. Like with my
There's
dad
that
specifically.
Taking souls is
Yeah.
what
Like, right.
David Goggins says.
Taking souls and digging holes.
Yeah.
But like,
I knew
I
it.
hope when like that family member that did me wrong, or my dad,
Yeah.
whoever it might be,
Mhm.
that person who wronged me, I hope every time they hear my fucking name on the radio, it makes their skin fucking crawl.
Yeah.
And that's
Mhm.
why I work as hard as I do,
Mhm.
is to show those fucking people, first of all, fuck you.
Yeah.
Because not only am I better without you, I'm succeeding without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't have the effect that you thought you did on me. So fuck you.
There you go.
So I don't know how that would
Mhm.
factor in the dip. I don't know, but like,
Yeah.
is angry an option?
You're really climbing up that fucking hill.
Always.
Yours
And
is
I
like,
think, and there are sometimes I probably dig myself deeper because of how much I am. That was funny.
Yeah.
About how much I am digging. So I probably do dig myself deeper, but I always work my way out of it.
Yeah, you're
Yeah. That
climbing up that hill like ferociously.
yours
You're
is like
"Ah."
mine turned up to 11. So I have a cheat answer. I'm very much the pessimist.
Mhm.
I am very much of, things are going very well. This has been a very good, productive week. I can't wait to see how things go wrong. I know it's coming, so I'm going to make
Yeah.
the most of it while it is good.
That's
Yeah.
fair.
But I know things are coming and they're going to be
Yeah.
bad. However,
Yeah.
knowing this, having this in mind, when I get to that valley,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I'm not saying that there aren't a good span of time in there where I
Right,
am
right.
significantly in the valley, because
Right.
that is normal.
Right.
But having the knowledge of it, if we're talking peaks and valleys and it's a waveform,
Yeah.
when it gets to the valley, I am a straight line through the bottom of it, where I'm very much just staying afloat.
Yeah.
Where it
That's
is.
that would be like a stoic mindset of like,
where
I
it's-
know it's good right now, but it could be bad. So
Yeah.
I'm going to
Yeah. And when it is bad, I'm in the mindset of, I know it's bad, but I just have to make it through until
boom.
something
Yep.
turns
that's
around.
that's a very stoic of like, I know that things are okay right now, but they could be, so I'm gonna keep myself at ease. It's like when I get into a car, I'm always trying to remind myself like I could die. This could be
Yeah,
this
yeah,
could
yeah,
be the time that I
Yeah.
die. It doesn't matter if I'm buckling on my seat. 100 million times I've driven, turn on that car, could be the time.
Can
you know,
we-
get on the road? Could be the time.
Just because you brought it up, can we talk about PTW some more? Because I it's something that you told me a couple of years ago now, and I've always really admired it because it's essentially like living by that motto, right?
Right.
And sticking to it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got the wristband.
Where'd you get that?
That was you, buddy.
Oh, do you guys have anything like that, or like a motto or mantra, or just like something that you keep in the back of your mind that like keeps you
I was gonna
in that mindset?
I was gonna bring this one up earlier. I've always had the rule of threes, is what I call it.
You told me about this too, yeah.
Yeah. Will I be okay in 3 minutes? Will I be okay in 3 days? Will I be okay like 3 hours? I go
Yeah.
in increments of 3 months, 3 years, and it's like the closer it is. If I will be okay in 3 hours, then it's not that big of a deal. If I will be okay in 3 months, it's like, okay, well, I got some work to do, but it's not the end of the world. If it's 3 years, it's like, okay, saddle up. We got a lot to do.
Right.
We got work to do. Let's figure this out. Let's work through this.
Mhm.
I've always done the rule of threes, and it's one of those things where it's like that religious piece of like,
Yeah.
I know that, okay, I'm gonna be like, yeah, it sucks dick right now. This is the worst possible thing that's ever happened to me. I hate my life. I want to shoot myself in the fucking face. But in 3 weeks, I'm probably gonna be okay. So is it
Yeah.
really that big of a deal?
That's a really cool mindset to have too.
No, it's really not that big of a deal. So I try to like, it's about, you have to be able to zoom out and like see all perspective, learn people language, it's,
Evaluate.
Mhm.
evaluate.
That's
Rule
that's
of
smart.
threes. That's been
Yeah.
I've carried that one with me for a
I-
long. I don't even know where I got it from. I just,
That's cool.
For me, it kind of goes a little bit into a little bit of I can kind of back into like a religious thing again.
Yeah.
But the one thing that kind of always sticks to me is I remember hearing it one time on like a YouTube video of like a pastor or priest saying it or something like that. But he says that go into, he says that God can be really quiet sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and that every time like something really shitty's going on through, and I feel like nothing's happening, that kind of sticks in the back of my mind. I'm like,
He's just
Okay.
being
I
quiet.
like that one too.
Just
Yeah.
being quiet.
Yeah.
Got you. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that.
I have two. And one's really kind of fucking depressing. And I don't really like to talk about it.
Yeah.
But it's more so like when I'm in the lowest of low, this is my
Mhm.
mindset of I am a Christian,
yeah,
and you might not agree with my beliefs. But to me, there is a heaven, there is a life after this.
mm-hmm.
And as a Christian, I don't believe that you can achieve getting there by taking the easy way out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that kind of, when I'm at my absolute fucking lowest, has got me is I'm going to see my mom again.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And so that is not how that is going to
Hell
be
yeah.
achieved.
Yeah.
Recently, on a lighter note,
Mm-hmm.
I have had the mindset of doing it my way.
Mhm.
And it applies a lot to broadcasting and just life in general, whereas it might not be the conventional way, and I'm going to make mistakes, and there's going to be times where I'm at that absolute low. But at the end of the day, I'm going to take comfort in knowing that I did this my way,
Right.
and everything that I have achieved is because of that.
That's the Frank Sinatra song.
Right.
I always
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that. I always think that same thought when I hear the Frank Sinatra song, because it's like you hear that in his voice of like, he whatever lyrics are. He left and had a few, but I don't know.
Regrets he had a few, but then it gets too few to mention.
But
It's like, yeah, you feel that of you did it the way that you want. I don't know.
The
So
way-
you're not going to have regret.
I have had a few.
Fuck.
He did it his way though.
You walked
He
into
did
that.
it. He did
Well,
it
no, but-
his way.
No,
But I get what you're saying.
It's a
And
way
that's
of
the
looking
respect.
at regrets. It's a
That's
way of
the-
looking at the mistakes and looking at the
Yeah.
lows and
Yeah.
trying to
Yeah.
preemptively
Yeah.
stop myself from
No.
going to the low.
So
I get that one 100%.
go.
I was just gonna say, so like, and maybe it's a fucking ego thing too, where it's you look at the people that are idolized or people that I even view as heroes today.
Mhm.
Like fucking look around the goddamn room and it's a
Yeah.
bunch of fucking musicians,
Right.
right? So
Plus, we
Elvis-
were making the joke about it earlier.
Yeah, they're all
He's
dead.
dead. He's dead.
They're all
Yeah.
fucking dead. But like fucking Elvis, Kurt Cobain, whatever have you, right? Take these people, and the reason that they're still talked about to the day and still like have documentaries and biopics and books
Their
and all
hardships.
these different stories and all the stuff that people have to say about them is because it was unconventional.
Right.
yeah,
A white man singing black music on the
Mhm.
radio
Mhm.
was not the way that you got famous, was not the
Yeah.
way that you wrote music,
Yeah.
was not the way that you performed.
Yeah.
But he
And-
did it because he wanted to, and now look where he's at.
Right.
And-
So like internet radio may not be the way to go, and turning down certain opportunities
yet.
to do internet radio might not be the way
Yeah.
to go. But I have my show, that is my brand, that is
Right.
my concept, that is
Mhm.
on a platform that I made. And that is something at the end of the day that, hey, you know what? If I fucking died tomorrow, at least there was this, and I can say that I was
Mhm.
responsible for how this turned out.
So going off of the PTW thing, going back to that. So there are something that I say to myself probably 50 times a day when I'm really starting to lose my shit, and it's the Serenity Prayer.
Mhm.
I say that so much, like especially if I'm at work and the bosses are being fucking idiots,
Mhm.
and I know that they're wrong, and everybody around me knows that they're wrong, but I got to do it anyways. Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity, accept things that cannot change, change things that can, the wisdom of the difference, all that, right?
Yeah.
And then going back to the regret thing, the kind of doing it my way, and it's a detriment at times, but I will purposely put 150, 200% into something. Just so when I look back at it, and if I walk away from it, for my ex, when I walked away from it, it's because I did everything I could. Probably did way more than I should have.
yeah,
Mhm.
Way more than I should have. And it's not just in relationships, it's with work, it's with school, it's whatever. But I probably put way too much into it. But I'm not going to have that 6 months from now where I'm looking back going, well, what if I did this?
Mhm.
I know for a fact I did everything that I could have done.
Mhm.
And if it didn't work, it didn't work. I felt that way about it. I didn't
Mhm.
want to leave, but I did everything that I could.
Mhm.
Ironically enough, 6 months later, I get a call to come back. So it's just one of those that, and there's a few different things that could work out from that. You're either going to know that it wasn't supposed to happen, or that wasn't your time to do that, or that situation is going to know that you were willing to do that and you're willing to do it again. And you're going to be brought back into that situation because it's something that's right for you. And that's what I think people get discouraged way too quickly. I'm not saying to put 200% into something because, as I said, it's kicked my ass a few times. But it's one of those where if it's something that's supposed to work out, it might work out a year from now. It might not be until 10 years down the line. But it will always stick in that person's mind, or that situation's just idea, that aura of that situation, that's what you put out there. And eventually what you put into it, you're going to get back. And I believe that wholeheartedly. And I might be wrong. I don't know. So far it's worked out for me for the most part.
That's a sentiment that I've shared with Jordan before about, like, you know, I feel like you're the heart. I see so much like back end of this stuff, and it's like, I'm full believer that, you know, this is going to be huge, and we're going to look back in 15 years and be like, damn, remember when we did that? Like, that was crazy. That we, you know,
it's going to get canceled next week. This isn't even going to make air.
I would say the N word. It's going to be all.
So how about those Nazis?
But okay, and then this is another good question that I had too. Just wrapping back to ego and stuff. Do you guys ever feel you have to humble yourself with your
100% all the time?
I in the last maybe like 3 years, something like that, I've really, maybe even longer than that, like 4 years, I've had to like keep my, like, just watch my ego more, like, you know, be more a parent of how my ego takes over my personality, or how it may react, how it may affect my reaction to something from someone else or something like that. And I have to, like, it feels like this big elephant in my brain that I have to always look at, and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? Are you breaking anything? Are you doing anything crazy? Like, are you? I have to make you. Do I have to make you smaller? Can I let you get? Okay, you're getting a little big. That's fine. That's not like a real issue. That's fine. Okay, wait, hold on. Someone said something. Okay, get a little smaller. Make this elephant a little smaller now. You know, like, I feel like, and it's because it's. I feel like it's important. It makes you less of that actually guy that I was talking about. You know, like, you have to, at least for me, have to, like, watch my ego a lot. And it's one of those things where I was talking about, you have to zoom out and see other perspectives. I have to zoom out and, like, look at even myself in that situation and be like, was this my ego? How was I being too much of this? Was I taking this the wrong way and doing the wrong?
It's very evident, especially for me, because of where I work, and anybody I don't know if it's listening that's been in the military and that has been like, and has gotten out, or any veterans or anything like that. There is, up in the upper leadership spectrum, I'm talking like the senior NCOs and in the, like, officer area. That level of ego in that bubble is so huge.
Really?
And they do not give, I mean, you know how that whole stereotype of, like, you're a little pawn in their little game and stuff like that? It is so incredibly evident when you see how many snakes there are that like you work for, how many people that try to act like they're nice, but
that's something that I've been, like, snakes in the grass. That sentiment of, you got to watch for snakes in the grass. You really do. Like, and maybe it's just I'm getting older now and seeing it more with more
you are
people
old as shit
when I'm interacting with more people.
As well as Jake. Fuck off.
Yeah. But, like, you gotta watch out for snakes in the grass. You gotta be able to, you know.
There's this one quote that I always remember, and it's from I don't know if it was actually in quoted, but it was. Do you remember that old history show about the Bible? Not old history show, but it was the series, like the TV series.
Yeah.
There's
I know what you're talking about.
There's the one thing I remember. I think it was when Jesus meets Matthew or something like that, and how he's a tax collector and he was, like, super, I guess you could say, like, money driven, selfish and stuff like that. But I remember going back to it, Jesus saying that it was like I'm not sure if in the Bible. I think it was just TV that they said it was a really good life lesson.
Yeah,
it's anybody who praises themselves will be humbled, but anybody who humbles themselves will be praised.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
I saw, that struck with you. Yeah, so you remember that.
Let me. I always hate. I don't hate the question. I hate answering the question because it always makes it seem like I have multiple personality disorder. So let me backstory. You knew me in elementary school.
Yeah.
You knew me a little bit later, middle school. I look back at, and again, it's kids being kids, right? But I look back at elementary school Jordan and even middle school Jordan to a degree where I was just this absolute piece of shit human being. And I mean, I was a kid, and you learn, right? You learn how to be a person.
He was the emo kid in school.
But like before that, I was just even a fucking menace. Like I was obnoxious. I pushed people's buttons just to push people's buttons. I do it on air.
I think the first story I ever heard about you before I met you is that you punched somebody in the back of the bus.
Probably, honestly. Like I was a bad kid. I was a terrible, like if I was my parent or a classmate, I would have beat the shit out of me. Like
Jordan's just acting out.
I was a bad kid. That's all there is to it. And I was a shitty person. Like if that was an adult, that would be the absolute worst fucking person you could ever see. Yeah. And it took me until like senior year of high school to really start. It's not like I'm telling a personal story or anything, Evan. No, go ahead, close your chips.
My bad.
Brought to you by Lay's.
Not sponsored by Lay's,
but we'd like to be.
Yes,
yes,
we got one.
Yes. But so it really took me to like the senior year of high school where I started to realize like I should probably not be a fucking asshole about literally everything.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I'm being so cynical to people I like. Like why am I doing that? Mm-hmm. And really step back from that ego, right?
To
liberal English teachers.
Right. Like why? This doesn't benefit anything. So to really step back from that ego, and the main problem now, right, is that I tried so long to just get rid of it and not have the ego, become an adult, act like a fucking responsible adult, and have more empathy for the people around me, which is good, and you should. But you should also have an ego about some things, right? Like my work is something that I will always have an ego about because I take very great lengths to make sure that this sounds good.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sitting here with a fucking Blue Yeti microphone and a fucking iPhone, right? Like if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it to the best of my ability. So that I will always have an ego in. And the problem comes now where there is, and this is where people always ask me if I have multiple personality disorder, broadcasting. And it started before that. It started when we started doing music, of having this different persona of style is just Jordan, but turned to 11 and having more ego about things and being the devil's advocate and pushing the buttons and having that outlet of, no, fuck you, I'm better than you. And it's funny because I've had several conversations with people who met me from radio or heard me on air first or had met Style and had a sit down conversation with me after the fact and went, you know, I just kind of thought you were a fucking prick. But like, I guess that's a bit now. I'm like, yeah, it's just something you do. And like, for me at this point, it's just what I've done for a while now. So I don't see a difference in it. It's okay. Yeah, I could be having, and it comes back to the anxiety and depression thing ever. I could be having the worst fucking day ever. But as soon as I go in, and this is what people, again, don't understand that have reached out is, and it might be just a broadcasting thing. You can answer this too, but like, having that switch of just going into that persona. Like I could be having the absolute worst fucking day of my life and not want to talk to anyone and be in that mood where I don't understand what's going on and I can't tell you because I don't know. But if I got a show that day at noon, I'm Style. That doesn't matter. I'm going to play this song and talk about this and we're going to talk about Tommy Lee's dong. Like I'm going to sound like I'm having fun because that is the job that I'm here to do. This life that is having these issues is not Styles' life. That is not where this is affected. And it's weird to do this here because this is the one show, and this is the point, I guess, Shayne, is to be off air. So this is literally the one show that I talk not as Style. And it's kind of weird to disassociate that. But I don't, do you understand?
I do. I do. And the reason why, so when I was before I was a host, and now I have to be newsman and robotic newsman. But going to the ego thing real quick. So it's strange. So when it comes to my work, I've always thought this. I'm shit. Everything I do is shit. And until otherwise, I am shit. And I've always thought that way. Like
ego isn't, I was going to bring this up before too, because you brought up a good point. It's like, you've got to have a dichotomy with your ego. You got to be able to be like, I needed my ego in this area. I need, like I was talking about, my elephant's big over here and I need it to be big over here. And I like when it's big over here, but move it in this area, I need my elephant to be a lot smaller. And you gotta have an ego sometimes,
right?
And you need to be that perfectionist. You need to be that so that you can perform to your best of your ability. That you know you have to. That you know you can. But also you don't want to kick that into overdrive in every aspect of your life and be that. And that's at everything.
And be fifth grade Jordan.
And that's what I struggle with. So like, I mean, that was weird. So like before when I was, and it's really work related. So before when I was at work, I was supposed to be funny guy. I was writing bits. I was hosting. So I could carry a 3-hour show by myself, producing my own board, screening my own phone calls. Literally at half an hour notice, hey, I need you to host for the next 2 hours. Cool, let's go. Now I have to be more straight-laced. Good afternoon, I'm Jake. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and there has to be a certain confidence with that. But the issue is I got my bosses just beating me down every fucking chance they get. Yeah. Like I'm not joking. The other day, it was my first newscast of the day on the Sunday. It was right after that 15-inning game. I slipped up. I said, Oscar Gonzalez hit the game-winning home run in the bottom of the 5th inning to win in extra innings. Yeah. I got 2 fucking phone calls within 2 minutes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Going, you realize what you said, right? You realize what you said? You have to be more careful. Like, it's a fucking baseball game story. So, like, that side of the ego where I'm going, that's what you're going to fucking call me about? Right. Of all the fucking things going on in the world. We got computers that aren't working. We have equipment that's not working, but you're upset because I said 5th inning at 8 o'clock in the fucking morning when hardly anybody's probably listening. Yeah. Really? Yeah. That's what we're, so I don't know if that's ego or if that's me going like, there's a lot of other fucking things to worry about. Mm-hmm. So what the fuck are you getting on me for?
I think that's like a bit of both. I think that's like, you see the quality in your work and something so minor that you know is such like a minor inconvenience to anybody except for this, of course, this one guy who happens to be the one is always listening and always is the one who's on your ass. You do it all so to the T that it's like, okay, it's a lowercase T, or like you actually, the line on the capital T isn't straight or something like that. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, so you're telling me this is how a T looks now? It's a curvy top T? What is that bullshit?
But what's insane is that's literally how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then the entire time...
so that it makes all your T's
right.
perfect.
So I don't know if this makes me an ego asshole, an egotistical asshole, because I had listened to them fuck up every single day. Yeah. When they're on there stumbling all over themselves. And you're judging. And I'm getting a phone call because I said 5th inning instead of 15th. Mm-hmm. And let me just say this. First newscasts, first shows, or first like 10 minutes of a show, I don't judge anybody on that. Yeah. I don't. You're getting warmed up. You're getting into the mode of it. You're getting going. Now, if it's the 5th or 6th newscast in,
you're right,
or we're 2 hours into a show and it still sucks, okay, then we could go from there. But it's just like, so I don't really know if that's ego, because and something, and especially with me, I am my own biggest critic. I will sit there and and I will break down every single. I couldn't tell you how many times. So the first show I hosted it was 3 hours solo by myself, ran my own board, did it all. The way I critiqued that first 45 minutes because I kept messing up, I probably listened to that 30 times in that week. Mm-hmm. Where I'm going, all right, can't do this again. Okay, you can't do that. What about that? Can't do that. Okay, can't do. And like, for you to fucking call me and tell me what I did wrong, motherfucker, do you think I don't know what I did wrong?
Right.
Like, you know me. Mm-hmm. You know that I fucking know that I did that. Yeah. So why are you going to sit here and point it out to me? You're going to tell me how to do better, or are you going to sit here and point fingers?
Like, at that point, you're just being a dick.
Right. Like, if you're going to sit there and point fingers, fuck you.
You're being a dick to be a dick.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And but I don't know if that's ego. But going back to ego, like I said, so I believe everything I do is shit. I am shit, and until otherwise, I am shit.
I feel like that is
I share that mindset.
A thing of like, it drives your ego. You know, it's not like a good thing or a bad thing. It just is a motive of getting to where your ego needs to get for you to perform at what you need to be performing at, or what the standard of your performance needs to be. Is like, there's that. It's either an outside drive or an internal drive from you that, oh, I need to be better. I'm shit until I'm the best. Or it's that one motherfucker that's of course listening and he's going to be on. There are those 2 points of drive that like it pushes you towards that end goal of you're going to be this fucking great to the T, you know.
Spite and self-hatred are hell of motivators.
Oh, dude, you're telling me.
Did I ever tell you how I got into rock climbing?
Uh-huh.
My ex-girlfriend dumped me for a rock climber, so I bested him at his sport.
That's funny.
Like, I am the rock climber. I climb the rocks.
Look at me.
Now.
I am the rock climber.
That's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I am the same way, and I don't know, it's weird because like broadcasting's fucking weird, man, and broadcasters are fucking weird, man.
Yeah.
Because like once you like have done it or have been around it, and like it's just I don't know, you kind of look at things weirdly, and you don't know if other people look at them like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So like again, the whole show thing, like I nothing I do is ever good enough,
Right.
and I will sit in the studio for 7 hours until it sounds half decent, and I still won't be satisfied when I put it out. On the flip side of that, as someone who's trained people or produced people, I can sit there and go, hey, you know, that was pretty good. Let's do one more take. And Shayne, you can attest to this, where you could be the same way that I am when you're recording something. Oh, that wasn't good enough. Let me do that again. Let me do that again. I could do this better.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting there listening to it, producing, going, that was pretty good. We could use that. I like that.
Yeah.
Let's do that one.
Yeah.
And it's that dichotomy of having both sides, but not being able to use them together.
Triv had me record a song for him, and it was like my first or second. It was like my second or third one, because the first one he liked. I think it was my second one. So I'm going, fuck, I got to make sure he likes this.
Yeah.
I worked on that thing for 6 hours. It's a 45-second song. There was no reason.
Yeah.
And literally I play it for him and I go, how's this? Oh, it's good. I like that. No, that's pretty good. I ask Seth, hey, how's this? Oh, no, it's pretty good. I like it. And I'm going, not shit. Just fucking delete it.
Yeah.
Just fucking delete it. It's shit. It's
Yeah.
not good. They play it anyways. People like it. And I'm going, all right. Okay. But I get it.
Yeah.
Because that's how I am.
Yeah.
Like, Triv's been in the... It doesn't matter. Like, it's Triv. Fucking top as high as you could go in the city of Cleveland broadcasting. Found out, by the way, he did turn down XM
Nice.
when they first
Hell
started
yeah.
out. He's like, I'm
Good
not
for
doing
him.
that shit. Fuck that.
Fuck yeah.
So
That's a man.
yeah, turned it down. Would have made crazy money. Anyways, but like
That's doing something your way.
right. Yeah, he did. But even when I have, probably for all of us, even when we have people that we know they know what they're talking about, and they're going, no, this is really good. You're still going, nah, it's bullshit.
Yeah, shit.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
Fuck
yeah.
it.
Because you're always, at the end of the day, you are always going to be your own worst critic.
Uh-huh.
You know, you are going to be the one that has to find the minute detail that is, you know, because you were there in that creative process. And,
Right.
like, you were there through the whole thing. So you got to, like, you were the one that breathed life into this. You saw it every step of the way through. You're going to notice those small things, and it's going to be more glaring to you. So, like, that is something that's always kind of been like, yeah, no, duh, I am going to be my biggest. And like, it's been easier for me to let it go and to zoom out and be like, yeah, I might think this is shit, or I might not have like the fullest confidence in what I'm putting out there. But I know that A, at least I'm doing this. A, at least I'm trying. I'm putting, you know, what I have out there. And B, there are probably going to be people that see this or intake this content or whatever may have you, and it goes in one ear. Like, there are going to be the people that like it, there are going to be the people that don't like it, there are going to be the people that it doesn't affect at all. And so I try to keep all of those perspectives in my mind when talking on the show, when, you know, creating any form of art or anything like that. I'm always like, it's going to be perceived in all perceptions. I have to just do this to my rawest ability, to my potential that I know I'm doing it to.
And then there's a whole other aspect to it. I don't want to let you down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, if I'm tired, if I'm just not feeling it, and if that comes across, I let you guys down.
Yeah.
I see that.
And that's a whole other level to it.
Yeah.
I know, and Evan, you can relate to this too, I'm sure. And it's as much as I put into this, I know at this point, at the very least, I can go to that style character. And even if it's not knocking it out of the fucking park, and even if, because again, you're never going to be fully satisfied with it, or at least you shouldn't, I think. Even if it's not knocking out of the park, I know, hey, this is what I need to do to get through this show and
Right.
make it sound passable.
Yeah.
To that, to 11, as far as like writing music goes. I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many songs don't exist or existed for a week or have just been lyrics in a page for 12 years because this doesn't make sense. This isn't good enough.
Yeah.
No one would want to
Yeah.
listen to this. There is no point of making this.
Yeah.
Art is, I've always found art, like creating raw art, whether it's like I'm drawing a picture or I'm writing in my journal or I'm trying to write like a piece of poetry, whatever it may be, going from absolutely nothing to that full created body of work is the most, like, that is the hardest hill that I climb up, because you're creating something from nothing, and it's so fluid. There's so many routes you can take. There's so many opportunities that can be taken, like that can be, seized upon in that moment, that it's like, it's almost overwhelming of like, okay, well, I'm doing this thing, but how much can I do with it? Where can I go with it? How much can I put into it? Can I put more into it? Can I do this with it? I could do that with it. Where is this going with it? I could make it go this way. It's so like, you just have to put one thing down, and if it sucks, make the next thing not suck as much,
And that's why there's been a resurgence, I would say now, of like a whole bunch of individual artists coming out.
Yeah.
Because people are getting so tired of just like the whole, replayed kind of same thing over and over again on mainstream radio stations. But there's I don't know if y'all know who, there's an artist, his name is Benjamin Todd. He's a really good like individual country folk singer guy.
Okay.
But he just put out an album. He's really good. I've been listening to him for years, but he just put out an album, which is kind of what you're talking about, is songs I swore I never sing. So, and that's like, I think it's got like
Very cool.
15 songs in it or something like that. And it's just him and the guitar, and some of them have other instruments in it too to, back them up. But it's all very real, because it's kind of that same mindset where you could tell he was thinking, these are not going to sound good.
Yeah.
So,
Can I talk about
Yeah.
I don't know if I might cut this.
And,
It's still not out because I still hate it.
Yeah.
But you said it. You said the exact thing I was going to circle to. It's like lost media. It's like why it's why we find lost media so interesting. It's that there's that human potential there. There's that human had potential to do something. It was in the creative process of almost getting there. It kind of got there, and then for whatever reason, it got washed away, or it got burned, or it got deleted or scrapped. And it's like that. I think in general, humans are just interested in that human potential. They like
It's that mystery.
They like seeing that something is going on here that is not what I'm doing, or is not the norm, or is not. There's something going on. There is footage, or there is audio recording of Chris Farley as Shrek in a whole entire Shrek movie that we have not seen. There is that album,
And it could be complete shit, but we want to see it.
Yeah, because we know that Chris Farley really wanted to do that. We know that there was a lot of human potential in that movie already, and it's
we
like,
really like Chris Farley.
yeah, there's a lot. It's a lot of. We like the human. We like
the error.
We like the human. We like the error that the human makes. We like it's raw. It's real. It's that word. It's that word that you said where you can't describe the feeling.
Yeah, my favorite musicians that are like always in my top list are the ones that have that during interviews they describe, hey, where'd that song come from? It's like, what were you thinking with that song? Those musicians are kind of like, they shroud themselves in that mystery, and they're like, I don't know where that song came from. But I'm just letting it out, putting it on paper. And that comes to more of I appreciate people that write that are way more poetic than just trying to make something sound nice.
Just a nice rhyme and a hook.
Yep.
Yeah.
They write in I forgot what the literature term is. Where they write in like stanzas, like ones and twos, as compared to just like
A and B.
Yeah. So
I can't do either.
And those are some of
really?
the best. And those are some of the most iconic songs ever written.
I just can't write.
Wait, for real?
I can't count.
No, I'm saying I can't make a catchy song or a song that's poetic.
See, I need to learn how to play the guitar. If I did, I'd be a millionaire.
To the point of like just being interested in people creating just for the sake of that is a thing.
Yeah.
I will say, like, regardless of how much effort I will put into my work or anything that I put out, I am always so much more happy to watch people around me grow and be good at what they've decided to do,
The rising
or
tide.
get better. Like, I told you, I think I was talking to you about this Friday, Evan,
Mhm.
was that you asked me how Shayne came on the show, on the Rebel Radio show. And I was talking about, I'm like, yeah.
Wait, when is that radio show?
Oh, it's Mondays live on CBW Radio,
Oh, yeah,
5 to 7.
There you go. Here.
Yeah, Eastern time.
That's nice.
Or you can listen to it in podcast form for the first hour. on
Wait, in
all-
podcast
all-
form?
Yeah,
Nuh-uh.
podcast form, all platforms, Spotify, TuneIn, Google, Pandora, Amazon. It's the
Apple
Rebel
Music.
Podcast. Apple Music, too.
iHeart?
I don't know, honestly.
Apply for it.
I think it is.
Yeah, you'll get on there.
Because it's on Apple and I didn't apply for it. There's a couple of them that I just
Okay.
actually didn't put it on. But it's there. You guys let me know.
Yeah.
But no, Evan was asking me about how you came on the show.
Mhm.
And I was explaining it to him, like, it was kind of just this thing that kind of happened because we needed a fourth person. And it worked out very well. And I liked how it flowed. And you showed that you wanted to put the effort into actually come in and practice things and go over what to do and what not to do and took an interest in it. And nothing, and I thought about this the other day too, because I was listening to the last episode of this that came out. And no, I'm sorry, I was listening to the last conspiracy we did, and I texted you after that you were just on it. Like, you were flowing throughout all of it, and you really just fucking took the reins on it. And it just makes me so fucking happy that I can listen to that and just hear you go. And it's like that you actually went to school for this or have been doing it for years. That you can just take a topic and segue and, hey, we got to hit this break here. We got to hit this point here. And we're going to go in and out and just have that chemistry. Whereas to, like, you can look at your first culturally relevant show and it's just, hey, I have to have all this written out and we have to redo this and I have to have music and just that growth. It's I don't know. It's just something about it just makes me happy.
I can attest to that in the same vein, but like flip it where like I remember doing this I remember pretty much like a much watered down version of this in Parma, but it was the podcast, and then we got on radio, and then we did the live show, and it's just been growing, and now there's a table in this room, and
that was the real game changer.
It's the executive table.
There's like TVs
what
in
we
here
needed.
now, and there's a table. But I remember when it was like we were just playing video games in this room and like watching, like Dark Side of the Ring in this room. It's like I see that, and maybe that's why it works so well. But like I see that same thing in you, and I see, like it's mutual in that aspect of like there's that growth, and I think that's probably why we both are like here enjoying doing this still. It's because it's like, yeah, we're getting pretty damn good at this shit. Like we know what we're doing. We're getting a good rhythm.
And like, I don't know, just shit like that like isn't necessarily really anything huge, but just like seeing the progress or like seeing something come up or just the interest even for something to come up where it's like Evan hitting me up out of the blue and saying, hey, what would you think if I want to do another show about this that's completely different from the Pigeonhole? Like, I think that's fucking awesome, and that you have the idea that you wanted to do this. I love it, absolutely. Like, I want to hear more about this. Let's fucking go. Or just even fucking just hearing you that you got rehired with iHeart, I was so fucking happy.
Right.
Because like, and you know how I was on air when I heard about these cuts, and there are a handful of people that I was just actually fucking mad.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, these... And a good 2 or 3 of them, I'm sitting there and I told you something. This is the heart and soul of this station. Like, this is wrong. You can tell this is a corporate thing. Like, this is fucked up because these are people who actually do their job and boost your sales and boost your ratings.
Right.
And they are doing this for you, and they're doing a fantastic fucking job at it. And you are going to see when they leave, and this isn't here.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, just that feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
What a nice segue from this group therapy session.
Yeah.
Nice fucking segue.
That's how broadcasting works, right?
Yeah.
You don't fucking talk to people, and then you put microphones on, and it ends up being a group therapy session.
Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say, like,
There you go.
that was part of the reason why I wanted to do a show like this so bad, where it's, and I know we've talked about it a couple times on this show of why we did this show, but it's like, I know that you had this in you. I know that you had these I would see you guys off of the air, and I'd be like,
I get it.
There's more.
You said the name of the show.
Yeah.
End it.
But like, I knew that like there's more here to this person. There's more here to this person, and it's like if you catch them at fucking 1:30 at night on a Monday night, you might be able to get some of that, even if it's for an hour or two, talking about whatever, talking about ghosts to lost media to. You get a glimpse of that. You see a little bit of it, and that's why I wanted to do this show. It's because you see the
man behind the mic.
right.
But what about George Costanza?
I just think if we were to recast George Costanza in any other show, it would probably be Full House.
Yeah, I think he'd fit right in. I think
That's Danny Tanner. Jason Alexander.
No, I think he's his own character. I want George to be like the creepy
I need
neighbor
Uncle
that
George.
stops by. Yeah, I need Uncle George.
Uncle George.
Now, this is
replaces
off
Joey.
air.
Yeah, I need Uncle George that's like, going through Stephanie's room when no one's home and like
Get a good look, Costanza.
Yeah. But then in reality, it's like he just dropped his glasses and
Yeah.
he couldn't find where they were. And he's like, "No, I promise, I was looking. Jerry, I was looking for my glasses,
He was putting
I promise.
clothes away. He was
They
putting
were in the.
clothes
I don't
away.
know why they were in the penny drawer, Jerry. I swear."
Glasses fell off. Opened up the
Penty
wrong drawer, and he's digging. And Danny walks in. What are you doing?
This is the point of the show where you guys are gonna listen back at the end of the month and realize that I cut immediately after Ghost Stories to hear, and all of like the sentimental stuff.
All right,
is
good
gone.
night.
That's funny. But that's off air.